Hello everybody, welcome to the Boopcast episode 48. My Twitch is not muted. I'm getting feedback. We are your host SheNoob and
Cory.
Wouldn't be a Boopcast if I didn't
mine isn't muted either.
Well, that's
It's
fine.
fine.
They can't hear yours. They can hear mine. Thank you for the follows, everybody. It's so nice to see so many new people in here. This week, we have on our first-time guest, Mr. Thomas Vaccaro down there.
Hello.
Welcome, Thomas. Thank you for being on the Boopcast. This is his first time.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me.
You're welcome. Okay, so we're going to chat chapter 5 today, which was the longest chapter of the season so far. Quite a lot happened, so we're probably going to, try and not go over time. That's probably not going to happen. So thank you for the follow, Happy Cosmos, as well. So to start off, Thomas, would you like to tell us a bit about who you are, what you do, and how you got into RWBY?
Oh boy. So I am a geek, writer, all-around creative psychopath, as I like to say. And I got into RWBY during the Volume 2 days back in high school. A friend of mine introduced me to it and was like, hey, there's this weird 3D anime-esque show on YouTube. It's kind of weird, but it's fun. And so I binged all of Volume 1, and I was instantly hooked, and I have been on board ever since. And then I started making content around right before the Volume 5 era, because I've been writing a book, and like when you're doing that, you need some kind of author platform to get your name out there. And I decided, because at the time I had a blog and it wasn't really getting any traction, so I decided I'm marginally funny and I like to tear things apart for fun. So why not give criticism on YouTube a go? And why not go with the show I'm most obsessed with at the time? And
humble, Cosmos says.
Oh God, I don't, I'm not a fan of my own content a lot of the time, especially back then. But when I first started Arnold, Murder of Birds gave me a shout out for my first review. And I am so grateful because that was kind of the push out the gate that I needed. And since then it has been a very wild ride, and I'm still not sure if I'm still dreaming or not.
Yes, so you've had something of a transformation on YouTube over the last year to 2 years or so. So
that's one way to put it.
I'll be the first to say I've made it no secret in the past my distaste for your content in early years, but in recent years we've definitely sort of reached a understanding between the two of us about RWBY, I think. There have been more than one argument
I would
on
like
Twitter.
to think so. Oh dear.
But,
dark times.
People grow and evolve and people change, and here we are. We're on the Boopcast together, which I thought would never happen, so there you go. But it's very exciting to have you on, Thomas. We don't get to talk to a lot of sort of RWBY critics about the show, so it's interesting to look at the show from a critic perspective, because I don't call myself a RWBY critic, but I have done reviews before. I reacted to the show, which I don't do now, but I have done reviews, and on this podcast I have made it very clear about the things about the show that I do not like. So I don't consider myself a critic, but I do lean, like, I'm not going to praise the show just because I love the show. So, the show has problems, and we can't shy away from those, and I definitely don't. So, it's good to have you on to chat about Chapter 5. This was a very interesting mixed bag of a chapter. So I feel like we're going to have a lot sort of to cover and discuss here, and I have some opinions that I know a lot of people are going to disagree with.
Ooh,
Love
opinions.
That. I have opinions. I have opinions.
We should just have a warning.
They don't go with everybody else's opinions. Literally, okay. I mean, I would start with those. We'll work up to them. You don't have to be a fan of your work. We all are more than enough for you. Oh, you're so sweet, Agile. So yeah, we will start with Cory because he's the only one who's got notes.
Oh,
yeah, thank goodness.
I took them in a hurry last night too because I was like, shit, I need notes.
Hot take. Yes, I do have a couple hot takes about this chapter.
Ooh.
So, be scared.
But yeah.
Will sparks fly? Is
ha ha ha. I see what you did there. I just did finger guns. I hate myself.
I don't think that that's going to be a hot take from her perspective, but yeah, the episode begins with that whole montage thing.
Yes.
And I was talking to Thomas before we started about how I always refer to that as the first half of the episode, but it's really only like the first 5 minutes of the episode, but it's so much.
Short, but it's a lot. So it feels like it's the first half when really it's the first quarter of the episode. So yeah, it definitely feels like a lot. There's a lot going on in this. And I was happy that they did this because it made me feel less sad that they didn't do the sort of like shopping montage that we wanted last chapter. This kind of really made up for that. So I was like, cool, yes, montage of them learning to be huntsmen. I love this. Also, the like final still shots of Team Ruby falling asleep on each other is the cutest thing in the world. And I'm so happy that exists.
My heart is full. My harvest has been...
Yes.
Words associated with harvest. Yes.
Ayla apparently sent Ayla the wrong link and they are mad about that.
Oh dear.
Whoops. The songs have been very happy and positive. Yes. The two that we've heard, I don't know if I call the intro really happy and positive. It's somewhere in the middle. But the other two that we've heard in the show proper are really happy and positive, and it's scaring the fuck out of me, and I'm very nervous about it. Because why is this volume starting off so happy and positive? I'm like, what's gonna happen later? I just don't trust. Don't trust it. It's too nice.
With the way this episode ended, I think that we're gonna be heading in that direction.
Yeah.
Yeah, oddly so far, it reminds me a lot of like the Beacon arc back when we thought the show was all happy-go-lucky. The way I just would describe it is, it feels like Volume 2, but with the structure of Volume 3.
Yeah, totally. That is a good way to describe it. Volume 3 PTSD at its finest. I know, we're all traumatized. We don't trust anything happy in the show now.
And no one has died for several years, so that makes us even more scared.
Yes, it does. Don't remind me.
It's fine.
And we just got Penny back, so I'm like, somebody else is fucked now.
Yeah.
It's a monkey's paw.
I mean, we'll never know, not like any upcoming fights are getting spoiled. I'm going to talk about that. Because I'm mad.
Oh boy.
I'm angry.
You were furious.
I'm furious.
Oh dear.
And I will explain why, but I just want to address what Bartek says. You want to recommend a guest for the Boopcast. Unfortunately, we have no space this volume. We are full up, but definitely send me a direct message on Twitter or on Discord and let me know who you'd like to recommend, and I will see about having a chat with them for Volume 8. Volume 8? Oh my god, fuck, that's scary.
It's I know.
We're almost halfway through Volume 7. How did that happen? The tone of the OP has always set the tone for the whole volume. Yeah, and Volume 3 is a great example where, like, we were all sort of anticipating the intro and it came out and it was so dark and we were like, it's probably fine. You know? Why is it so... It's fine. And then, like, when all of the darkness happened, we literally weren't prepared because everyone was in denial about the intro. So
yeah, because up to that point, the songs had been dark in the lyrics, but never to the extent When It Falls was. So when that realization hit, we were all just kind of like,
shit.
Why?
Hey Dan, what's up? You know what's scarier? Volume 8 will have episode 100. What?
I mean, we're on Boopcast episode 48. Like, we've only been doing these since Volume 4.
Our break week will be number 50. That's terrifying.
Yes. God, we're all old.
Holy shit, we're all dying. been 4 years.
Well, hopefully we're not dying. We're not dying in a Fall of Beacon way, hopefully.
If Ren or Nora die, I'll be salty forever. If they die, it will be towards the end of the show. It won't happen before then. It'll be last volume sort of stuff.
I don't know.
Sure
I'm always nervous about Juniper because, like,
I know.
They don't have plot armor.
They don't have plot armor, yeah.
Not currently. I think John kind of does because his story is clearly not done yet.
That's fair.
Ren and Nora, though, apparently we're supposed to be getting Nora backstory, which I still think is tied to the Winter Maiden somehow. It seems to be heading in that direction, so I think they're not done yet either, Ren and Nora. Also, there seems to be a little bit of weird animosity between the two of them at the moment, so I'm like, they're going to address this at some point. Things seem a little tense, and I don't know what's going on there. And they keep sort of making jabs at it like Neon did in this episode of like, where's all that energy when he's with you? And I'm like, yeah, where is it, Ren? What the fuck is your problem? He's being kind of a dick. And I'm like, what's going on here? But, you know, if they go die, Nora and Ren will go out in a blaze of glory. Yeah, they will. Absolutely. But yeah, let's not think about that because it's not going to happen for the next 6 years.
Nothing bad ever happened.
I don't know. I feel like I need to just prepare for it just in case, especially because I feel like the fall of Atlas is going to be so much worse than the fall of Beacon.
Oh yeah.
Ugh.
Because we still think Atlas is literally going to fall out of the sky, or Amity Coliseum will fall out of the sky. Either way, it's going to be devastating. Why not both? Sure, just fuck it. All of it goes down. All of it goes down. Getting too old. I'm half expecting Qrow to end up dying because he uses his misfortune semblance to protect Ruby. I do think Qrow is still on death row. Not immediately, however.
He's had those death flags too long.
I know, we see it every year.
Every volume we're like, Crow's dead, Crow's dead, Crow's dead. And now this volume this is the first year in 3 years that I'm like, but they're setting up this whole gay thing with him. So like I feel like he's gonna survive, and then this will be the volume he dies.
Oh no.
Yeah, bury your gays. But Ruby doesn't really have a history of that so far. But
yeah, they actively avoided it with Pilot Boy, thank goodness.
Now that he finally is happier and positive, he will die. Exactly, that's kind of how I feel about it. But like before the volume started, I was like, Crow's okay, this is the last volume for Qrow. And now I don't think so, because they did just change his voice actor. His character sort of had something of a makeover. It would be a shame to do away with that after one volume. And not really give his new sort of self a chance to shine.
Is the stream frozen for anybody else?
Is the stream frozen for anybody else? Yes,
oh dear.
The stream is frozen. Hello, are we back up? I'm not sure. Looks like we are. Okay,
it's back up for me now.
Beautiful. Sorry about that, guys. My OBS studio threw me a really strange error. That's never happened before, but hopefully it's okay now. Sorry about that. Please be sure to refresh your Twitch, just so that view counts and that come back. Hello again. Welcome back. Yeah, please refresh. And most of you won't be able to see the stream anyway unless you refresh, so yeah, please do that. Just gonna post in the chat. Sorry about that. That's not happened before, but you know, it wouldn't be a Boopcast without technical difficulties, so it's fine.
I know.
Damn you, Watts.
We normally make it. Normally, all the technical issues are before the stream, though.
Normally, not.
It's got to throw us for a loop.
Okay. Everybody, let me know when you're ready in the chat. Just say ready when you guys are ready. When you've got the stream refreshed, and we can resume where we left off. Ready? At least there's no delay today, that's good. Ready, 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 beautiful, excellent. Okay, thank you. Shut up, Cory. Thank you. Okay, we are good. What were we talking about? So Lucky Charms, yay or nay? Yay. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Fucking hell yeah.
Yes,
yeah.
Fuck yes. We talked extensively about this last week. I don't want to repeat myself over and over and talk about the same thing every week, but yes, that's all I can say. I'm here for it.
I mean, I was going to bring this up when we got to that point later, but I'm honestly a little bit frustrated with Rooster Teeth related to it right now because, like, that scene with him and Clover was so gay.
It was so
but
gay.
They're keeping it so subliminal that I'm like, Rooster Teeth, what are you doing? You're making me nervous.
I know. I mean, I call them Bad Luck Charms because I think that's cuter. But they have so many ship names: Bad Luck Charms, Lucky Charms, Crover. What's the other one on Tumblr?
Fair Game.
Fair
Mixed
Game.
Fortunes.
Mixed Fortunes. Yeah, I hate Fair Game. I think that's terrible. But
yeah, Fair Game is very uncreative.
The only reason I'm conflicted with Lucky Charms versus Robin X Crow is because of the birds and bees thing. I don't like Robin, and I'll talk about that later. But that's one of my hot takes. I hate Robin. My other hot take's about Neo, so that should be interesting.
Shit.
We'll try and stay on track here, even though we got
Neon.
Spoiled. No, not Neon.
Not Neo.
But yeah, Neon, not Neo. Yeah.
I was like, Neo? What'd Neo do?
What if... No, I said Neon, bitch. What if Clover almost gets killed?
You said Neo.
Good luck to protect... What if Clover almost gets killed because he used his good luck to protect Qrow? Don't even suggest that. That's rude.
Why does this fandom love to torture itself with these thoughts?
I know! No, Neon, not Neo. I've got a question. Did any of you see Mandalorian? No, and that's completely off topic. The Matrix is the system, Neo.
That's a wild card? Okay.
Thank you for the retweets, everyone. By the way, if you do have a question that you would like to ask, please tweet it at us at the Boopcast, #Boopcast, and then it will pop up on the stream and we'll be able to see it, answer it for you. Because we may miss the chat. Because there's a lot of you in here, which I really appreciate, so thank you for being here. This is my revenge for calling my wine biscuits embryos. Okay. I've missed something.
Sorry, they did.
I'm liking Crow's development this volume. So am I. Some people are complaining because, like, they ruined his character. But I'm like, this is what character development is. Characters don't stay the same for years. They go through shit and it changes them. That's how it works.
Yeah, and I feel like a big part of that complaint is people don't understand Qrow to begin with, and they thought he was the cool persona he projected instead of this vulnerable uncle who's been miserable for years and now finally has a chance at happiness.
Exactly. He's also quit drinking in recent history, so that inevitably is going to have an effect on his character. And I think actually they timed all of this perfectly with the change in his voice actor, because it's almost like sobering up has kind of changed the way he sounds, and they've worked that so well with, like, they're getting away with it. He doesn't sound that different. Like, Jason is doing an incredible job, but he does sound less hoarse and less gruff than he did before, but I think it totally works for him now. So, especially as big a crisis as everything I've done for the last 20, 30 years has been for a lie. Yeah, exactly. So he went through a lot last volume, guys. Just not physically, but mentally, he went through a lot. And
all in like 5 days.
He's had a bit of a wake-up call, and he's quit drinking. We'll see how long that lasts, but we haven't seen him with the flask yet, so that's good indicator. And he did actually come out and say in this episode, I gave that up. So, it's good for us to have that sort of confirmation, but yeah, I'm loving Crow's character development this volume and this romance that they're setting up with him. But you're right, Cory, they're being so coy about it that I'm like, if you're gonna do this, fucking do it. Stop having them flirt so hard with each other and having Qrow be like all embarrassed when Clover's like, you shouldn't deflect a compliment, bitch, and then like winking at him and shit all the time. I'm like, oh my god, I can't handle these two. It's too much. Do it, you cowards. Exactly. Just do it. The suspense is killing me.
Is Rooster Teeth they know their audience, and they're really good about, like, even with Bumblebee and all, they saw all the subtext that was there for Bumblebee. So like they're more than aware about the subtext that they are putting out with Crowe and Clover. They must.
They are so aware.
Oh, they're absolutely aware.
They wouldn't be animating Qrow being like all embarrassed and scratching the back of his head and looking sideways when Clover gives him a compliment if they weren't aware of it. They know what they're doing. They're queer baiting the shit out of us. This needs to happen. But yeah, I mean, that's my 2 cents on that. We'll talk about the extremely gay scene a bit later. But
there's so much tea today.
There's so much tea. The tea is burning hot, and I'm drinking coffee, so.
That's none of my business.
Yeah.
Stone.
Back to Doctor.
No,
do you mean Doctor
I don't
Sleep?
watch Doctor Stone. No, I don't know what that is. Doctor Sleep? Oh, Doctor Sleep. Oh, that's the one that's got Ruby references in it.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. I can't wait to hear
There's
about
a line
Robin.
there
You will hear about Robin. Trust me, you will hear about it. I have things to say about her.
Oh, dearie.
Oh, God.
Oh, dear.
Anyway,
Yes.
back on
track. Cory, underail us. Rail us back on.
So the episode, I mean, we really didn't start anywhere. The episode starts with them being woken by Penny. And the first thing that I noticed is, why aren't Blake and Ruby undercovers, but Yang and Weiss are? It's so weird. It's a weird nitpick, but I'm like, why?
But like, when you go back and you like pause it, Blake is all curled up like a cat, and she looks adorable. So I'm like, I forgive you, Ruby. Why are you not under the blanket? Like, I forgive Blake, but yeah, it was kind of weird, and it was something I noticed immediately as well. The other thing you pointed out in that scene, that is one of my hot takes this chapter, is they all have the exact same body model. And it's really obvious. Thomas just made a face. Yeah.
I'm just staring off into the event horizon.
The first thing
they've made some slight changes, but they're clearly the same model that's like been just stretched a bit to give them more.
Please God, let it be fixed in the Blu-rays.
Oh my God, please fix it. It's so blindingly obvious. They thought they could get away with it. They did not.
See, my main concern is why is Weiss still in her like the braid that she wears when she goes out when she's
why isn't her hair
down?
Like everybody else, fine. You know, your hair's like that normally, but she's gone to bed with it in the braid and with the tiara still in her hair. I'm like, this makes no sense. Why would she do that?
Weiss, yes, you're clean, but this is unnecessary.
Yeah, it's really unnecessary. And like, you know, spend, you know, however long it takes to have a model with her hair down because it will look less weird. But also, like, the first thing that clued me into the fact that they all have the body models when you pointed it out is Weiss's boobs are enormous and that chick has no boobs. So, like, she's got the same size boobs as Blake and Yang in that scene, and I'm like, no, this is so obvious. How did you think you were going to get away with this? Weiss is a Beyonce stan. Even when I sleep, I am queen. Distinguished lesbian all the time. I resent that. But yeah, no, it was just so obvious. I'm like, I don't know if you thought that we wouldn't notice, because we notice everything. And definitely that was very noticeable. But yeah, I hope they do fix it. Because it's not.
I also understand why they did it though, because if we literally are never going to see them in their pajamas again, like, you know, why waste time on it? But at the same time, I'm like, but we've seen the kids in pajamas before. Like, you couldn't do something with it, and like, I don't know.
Yeah, I get they're not wanting to waste a lot of time making different models for this one scene, but definitely something they need to look at fixing post-volume. Because it's not
definitely
not good.
Maybe it was just a thing where they were trying to get the episode done, so they were like, something has to be sacrificed.
Yeah.
Pajamas.
Yeah, but I get that, but at the same time, not good. Please fix. Please fix it. It's just glaring. So yeah, that was one thing. But yeah, this montage, I loved this montage. I love the song in the background. It's so cool. It's also fitting. I love watching them sort of learn how to be huntsmen and huntresses, and Clover's sort of commentary over the top about how, like, you know, school is over. You're professionals now. You get to decide what kind of huntsman or huntress you're going to be. And watching Ren get his ass kicked by Elm was kind of my favorite part for some reason. I'm not sure why.
No.
I don't know. I really liked that bit where he just got clotheslined by her. It was just, you know, it was one of those good sound design moments, I think, as well.
That's true. Sound design on that was on point.
Cosmos, Ryan's comment of have you thought about extending your arm? It's aura. He says aura.
Yeah. You had the same. You made the same mistake the first time you watched it too, and I said it's aura.
You were like it's aura, and then I watched it again. I was like, it is aura. Yeah, I hear it now. Have you thought about extending your aura? Yeah. Yeah, it makes more sense. Yeah.
Have you ever thought about stretching your arm out like I'm able to?
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I thought initially. I was like, he can't do that? What are you talking about? And then Cory was like, it's aura. I'm like, that makes way more sense.
Oh dear.
You could say that.
Well, I'm just wondering, what does that mean?
Yeah, I'm wondering as well, because what does that mean? I mean, we've seen some sort of like output of aura before with like aura strikes and things like that, and sometimes using aura as a physical shield, which has been interesting. But yeah, that's definitely not a throwaway line. That's something that Jean's gonna learn about and sort of integrate into his style at some point. Or a palm strike.
My main, like, I immediately, when I thought of it, I thought of like, and this is a terrible thing, and I'm going to show that I'm trash by saying this. It made me think of in the final Twilight book when she had the mind thing. I don't even remember what it was, but like she was extending that, and I was like, is that what he's going to do with his aura and like project a force field or like amplify multiple auras, or like what does this mean?
That seems like a lot of work.
I'm still waiting on him amplifying Weiss's aura so that she makes a colossus out of her knight.
Oh yes.
I mean, they should have done that in the end of Volume 6.
I mean, yeah, but he was also too busy making sure Nora didn't die, so fair.
I mean, the knight did get pretty big in Volume 5, but like that's not quite Colossus level. It's getting there, but
he had to be, so it's fine.
I liked Ren's like sort of aura palm strikes thing, and he hasn't really done it since Volume 1, so I'd like to see him do more of that rather than relying on his pew pew weapons that are kind of useless. Although they did make them more, they made them more useful by having by being able to shoot the blades out and have them like grappling hooks. Definitely made it more useful, but as they are, they kind of suck. So I'd like to see him do more with his aura and that sort of fighting style that he had originally. Okay, her making a jump colossal knight to stomp on Jacques. Yes.
Please, destroy She Manor.
Please. Or amplification in a big area around him could be cool. Yeah, I don't know if he's up to the task just yet. Hey, Heather. But we'll see how he goes. New Blake is only using a long-range gamble way more. His style seems very different. I mean, they did have to change Blake's style a lot because they couldn't replicate what Monty used to do with her, which is understandable. Her style was very unique. And they sort of went, we don't know the first way to start animating it like that. They sort of had to figure it out over a few years and find out how to animate her in a style that still feels like Blake, but is different. But we also haven't seen her really do like a 1v1 sort of thing, and that's where she seems to really shine, because when it comes to Grimm, she seems to be a very much a supporting fighter, because she has the versatility of the grappling part of her weapon, and her and Yang together, work really well, as we saw in this chapter. But yeah, she hasn't really had a chance to shine in a 1v1 sort of situation. The last Grimm we saw her fight on her own was the Sea Wyvern thing back in Volume 4. But that's not really the best example of Blake's fighting style, because it was a meh fight. It was okay. But like,
and even then, Sun showed up.
She does dual wield in the intro. Yeah. And when we had Blake versus Adam last volume, that was her chance to really show off what they could do with her new style, her new fighting style, and it was amazing. Oh, thank you for the biddies, Silod. The Sea Feilong, thank you. I can never remember what the fuck it's called. Weiss needs to kill a Geist, that way she could create quote-unquote Colossus summon. Good lord. We'll chat about the sort of summon fight later, because I thought that was really cool. This is for me. I gotta get back to work and some stuff. Thank you, Silod, for joining. Yeah, so it would be nice to actually eventually see that in an episode. I mean, like I just mentioned, we saw it last volume. She was dual wielding against Adam, albeit briefly, but it was there. And yeah, I know they have had some difficulties sort of figuring out a style for her. So, but yeah, she hasn't really had that opportunity to really need to utilize that much. So she's just sort of playing support for the time being, which is where she sort of sits in the grand scheme of things. So, yeah. Anyway, what were we talking about?
I don't remember.
I feel like we were just generally enjoying this brief montage.
Yes, yeah, the montage.
And also complaining about pajamas and the fact they all have the same body.
Yeah, the pajamas. But yeah, I loved Blake and Yang's section of the montage here. Because, you know, oh god, what's his name? I keep forgetting everyone's names. Marrow being like, you know, you guys always team up, but like your styles don't really work together. And then they're like, Bish, excuse me, say what?
Immediately.
Oh, our styles don't work? Really? Are you sure about that? And he's like, okay, never mind. But yeah, I like the fact that they're exclusively sort of teaming up. I'm like, I mean, you guys need to calm down a little bit, maybe. Like, go team up with somebody else. We did see Yang team up with Ruby in the montage, though. So, but yeah, I like that they are spending more time together, and sort of just, you know, letting bygones be bygones and just, you know, do what they do best. Wow.
I mean, fair.
Wow. We need to retire now. Goodbye. So Weiss killed the Grim Wyvern because she hypothetically spawned a bunch of other Grim summons. Hypothetically, yeah, because it works that she can summon the enemies she's defeated. So, but the Knight is sort of the biggest thing for her. I mean, she's killed a lot of Grim, so the Knight and the Borbatusk are really the only ones that we've seen.
And the Lancer.
Oh, and the Lancer, excuse me, yeah. That was the big one.
She used the Lancer a lot last volume.
Yeah, she did. The interesting thing about them in that scene is how they didn't even do it like a joke. They were totally serious. Yeah, exactly. A codependency. Yeah, it can be seen as that way, that they're like, but I feel like also they're trying to make up for lost time, because they did spend that time apart, and their relationship has developed a lot recently. And
they're kind of in the honeymoon phase.
Yeah, I think so, and that's why they're spending so much time together and doing missions together. But yeah,
I think they're in that phase where they like being around each other, but they don't realize they're dating yet.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they don't realize that they are married yet. So, but yeah, I like the little sort of hints that they're putting in with the two of them, of like, you know, Yang commenting on Blake's hair and Blake being like, is it bad? Like, I'm blushing. I'm like, that's so cute. You guys are adorable. Please date. But yeah, I like that they're putting them together as much as possible, because we do need to see a lot more sort of development with Blake and Yang. Because all of this is very new for them, and they've sort of only just gotten past this really big animosity between the two of them, and they've just been through a massive thing with killing Adam last volume. That is going to have its effect on the both of them, and we saw when we went into the mine in chapter 3.
It was 3.
3.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We believe in you.
When they both saw that SDC logo, and you could just tell that they were thinking about it, and that's inevitably going to have an effect on them, especially for Blake, because it was such a huge thing. For Yang, it was more about defeating the person who took her arm, and then to her also kind of took Blake away from her. And then for Blake, it was about defeating this abuser that she had suffered through for years and years of her life. But it's not an easy thing, and that it's going to affect them for a long time to come. So it's good to see that they're sort of addressing that. And they've just gone through this massive change together. So of course it's going to bring them together and make them almost codependent on each other for the time being, because they need to lean on each other for that sort of... The two of them are the only ones who understand what they went through. So, you know, it's not like they can sort of turn to other members of Team RWBY, because they're not going to, you know, they can offer sympathy, but they can't empathize. So that's why they're sort of leaning into each other a lot this volume. So I like the song in this one.
Plus they're in love.
The song was so good. Plus they're in love, obviously. Yang, tell your girlfriend to hurry. I loved the bit with Blake and Yang when the girls are in their dorm room and like Yang's like falling asleep and Blake like grabs her and pulls her off screen. I was like, I love these little things they do in the background. I'm like, I'm living for my bees right now. Look at them, they're so cute. Weiss has got an electric toothbrush and she's just walking across the front of the frame. I'm like, I never think about like the mundane things, like them brushing their friggin' teeth. I'm like, I didn't even realize they have electric toothbrushes in RWBY. I'm like, but it's Atlas, so it makes sense, I guess. Because we have
airships, but not toothbrushes.
Way back in Volume 1, Ren was brushing his teeth, and that's the last time we saw that. But I love the image of Weiss with the electric toothbrush, just like so tired, just like dust powered toothbrush, probably.
Oh dear!
I was literally just thinking, I'm like, what kind of dust would they put in a
electric
toothbrush?
Dust?
Well, there is combustion dust, but that's more for like cars and bikes.
I think if you put combustion dust in a toothbrush, it might explode.
That's fair. That's fair.
Maybe electric dust? I don't know. It's a Quip toothbrush product placement.
It's a mad toothbrush.
Yeah. It's just so funny to me to watch them do Mundane.
It's also like a gun.
It's also a gun.
Oh, no.
No. It's
Oh, I forgot to put it in gun mode.
Whoops. Combustion. Oh wow, no. A toothbrush with an exhaust made me laugh. Probably batteries with a little bit of electrical dust in them. Yeah, that's the thing. Do batteries exist? If they have dust, do they need batteries? That's a good question. Like, how does their electricity work? Is it all dust? Like, or do they generate electricity similarly to how we do? I don't know. I feel like it's probably dust powered.
Yeah, because it's an energy propellant. So like.
Yeah, so maybe they just have dust, and then they have a bunch of wires and circuits to transmit the power the dust makes.
Don't use Chibi as an argument for canon, excuse me. Chibi takes the cannon and goes, nope, and throws it out the window. So don't come at me with Chibi Penny has batteries, because proper Penny does not.
We don't know, maybe she does.
I mean, if she has they mentioned her core, but if she has a battery, it's most likely some kind of dust-powered device that behaves like a battery.
Oh god, I'm wondering, do they have to plug Penny in? Like
they have to recharge Penny.
No. Oh no.
They gotta recharge her, plug her into the wall.
Oh god, phones have terrible battery lives. I can't even imagine what Penny's is like.
Yeah, but,
she's so excitable too. She must drain that thing like that.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, I love Penny.
Fine.
This Penny, this volume has been a delight. I'm enjoying it.
I will plan for 6 possible outcomes.
Yeah, the way Ruby looks at her when she says that is priceless. She's like, huh? I just want to know what the 6 outcomes were. Like,
yeah, so 5 of them include homicide.
Yeah.
Essentially. Squeaky bouncing. I love the way Penny like bounces when she gets excited. It's so cute. Solar panels. I didn't even think about solar panels.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Cinder falls. Penny destroys monster with lasers. Do you want me to continue? I mean, yeah.
I'd kill for that.
Do charges exist? I don't know. How do they power their scrolls? Are they dust powered? Do they need to swap out the dust crystals, or like, I don't know. How do
they're so small though? How do you fit a dust crystal into that?
Yeah, they are tiny. So how would you fit any kind of power source in there? It's like a Switch controller. Mind you, Switch controllers have batteries, so I guess. But yeah, I don't know.
Solar powered.
I do really like.
We're talking about things that don't affect the story whatsoever.
I know. If you start thinking about the mundane stuff too much, you're like, but wait, how do their toilets work?
Exactly.
Do they have indoor plumbing in every city?
I mean, I don't know.
I would hope. Does Menagerie have it?
I guess. Oh, no. I mean, there's a lot of water in Menagerie.
Ooh, they have aqueduct.
Toilets work by physics. I mean, Yeah?
No, we're not discussing this.
No, we're not. We're not discussing this. We're not discussing
Why is this so engaging?
I'm putting a stop to this now. I'm deleting that. But,
oh dear.
What the fuck were we talking about? We were talking about dust.
While making fun of the fact that Weiss wears her fancy hair to bed.
Oh my god, yeah.
And we talked about the bumblebee scene.
Lots of bees.
Lots of bees.
So you could say you're flushing the topic. One more pun out of you, Crystal.
Okay, I gotta get that one.
And I will mute you. Jesus Christ.
Also, can we just appreciate the fact that Weiss uses partial summons on the fly now?
Love that.
Like that just she just summoned
the sword, and
sword,
she just
kills
them all.
Yeah, that ice sword that she summoned with a glyph, can't speak, was a callback to Volume 2 in the finale when she did a very similar thing. So I noticed that. I was like, oh, cool, little callback there. Because when that happened in Volume 2, I thought that was really cool and not something that we'd seen her do before. So yeah, I loved that little callback there. I also love the shot of Ruby and Weiss falling from the sky with the sun behind them, all silhouetted. I'm like, oh, it's so pretty! Look at my beautiful
You never
girls.
see them do that with the sun. It's always the moon.
No, it looks really cool. And like the last time we saw them do that sort of silhouette against the sun was when Yang ditched her bike at Adam, and that's a gorgeous shot too. That's one of my favorite shots in the whole show.
It's beautiful.
It's so beautiful having us silhouetted against the sun, just like falling from the sky with their weapons, like yeah, ready to kill bitches.
Yeah, the direction in the montage in general is just top notch, and it really shows they know how to communicate where everybody is as quickly as possible.
The moon doesn't silhouette as strongly though, because it doesn't shine as brightly as the sun does. So, you know, when we've had silhouettes against the moon, there's not really any cancelling out of light as such. The only one is really Penny in this volume, but that was more of stylistic rather than realistic because she was being revealed. I wonder if we're going to see Mantle during the day. Yeah, that's a good point. We haven't seen Mantle at anything but night.
It's just such a sad city. It's
the Thirsty
perpetual
Moms
night.
Scene.
In the first what?
The Thirsty Moms scene.
Oh, yeah!
Oh,
that was Mantle. Yeah. That's a good point.
Wow, how could we forget like that?
Oh my god, how did we forget about the Thirsty Moms? Okay, but we joked about this last episode, and I was expecting it. But a lot of people were like, I didn't think they'd actually do that. I'm like, yeah, it's the most obvious joke in the world. Of course they did it.
I'm so proud of John.
Yeah.
I know.
It's totally the haircut. I'm like, yes.
She's
Nori,
not wrong.
It's totally the haircut. And also he's really tall. And a huntsman. So that helps. Gotham equals Mantle. It was day in that scene. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. I love the kids walking away. Corey, you pointed this out to me. The sort of like last little blonde kid. He looks back at the mum giving Jean a casserole, and he's like, "Oh God!" And he keeps walking.
And before them, there's the two holding hands.
So cute.
Oh yeah, that was cute.
They're so cute. He's 6'2". Yeah, he is 6'2". I think he's nearly 6'3", actually. He's so fucking tall. And they just did
I think he's 6'3" with his boots on.
Yeah, they just did a side-by-side of Jean at the end of Volume 3 and then Jean now. And I'm like, he's grown like half a foot, if not more. He's actually gotten taller. And I'm like, I thought he had gotten taller, but to see how much taller he's gotten, I'm like, oh wow, he's grown a lot. Because I remember back to Volume 1, he wasn't that much taller than Ruby. And now he dwarfs her. He's so freaking tall. I'm like, I felt like all this time he had gotten taller, but it's interesting to see it side by side like that. So yeah, he has grown like half a foot to like 7 inches. Yeah. It's a lot. So... but yeah, it's interesting.
There's so much to cover in this montage. Oh my god.
There's so much. But I loved Nora braiding Ren's hair as they were walking along. That was so cute. I was like, you guys just need to stop. The camera work. I wanted to talk about the camera work in this episode because it is stellar, this episode, especially in the scene with them all in the training room together. I'm like, the camera work is so good. And all throughout the montage, the panning work of the camera is so good. I'm like, they've gotten so good at learning how to navigate their environments with the camera. Because it's not an easy thing to do in animation. You don't have a physical camera that you can move around. It's sort of like you've got to program the camera to move in a certain way. So... and around these 3D environments from one perspective, which is not easy to do. So camera work, very good. It reminded me actually of the end of Volume 3, the camera work in this episode, where like they were all fighting Grimm, and it sort of goes through the city and then pans up to Cinder and the other two, Mercury and Emerald.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I remember and I remember they even mentioned the fact that because they were pushing Poser to its limits, that wasn't one scene that was all like rendered in one go. It was a bunch of different blocks that they rendered and cobbled together in editing, and it's like, oh, thank God they switched to Maya. Oh, thank God.
Yeah, yeah. And this was very reminiscent of that for me, because that was the first time that they really did dynamic camera movement in RWBY. And I love seeing them play around with it, especially when they have a scene like this where they have the freedom to play around with it. But yeah, there were moments where the camera followed the action that I really liked. Yeah, exactly. It reminds me of the older volumes. Yeah. I like when they do that sort of dynamic camera movement. It's really, it keeps it interesting. And it allows them to do these sort of continuous one-shot sort of things. But it's not like, traditional media where they're actually shooting it in one take. But, it's like there's moving pieces that are 3D, animated, and they have cues, and, it's all programmed, and the camera's moving throughout this environment as it's all unfolding. It's really, there's a lot of work that goes into doing stuff like that, and I appreciate it when they take the time to really make that look good. But yeah, is there anything in the montage I didn't talk about? There probably is. We've definitely got something.
I
think we covered most of it.
Well, I mean, there was the first part of the Weiss and Winter practicing their summons together.
Yeah.
There was Ironwood and Oscar's training.
Oh yeah, Ironwood and Oscar.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm loving how keen Oscar is now, and he's like getting so good at using his cane, and I'm loving that Oscar's just getting to be Oscar right now as well, because he hasn't really had a chance to do that. So yeah, I'm glad he's getting a chance to sort of almost forget about Oz for a little while and just be him. Team Funky. Yeah, we'll chat about Team Funky. Ruby and Harriet running with Weiss doing support. Yes, that looked so good. And I was like, yeah, that's really cool. Look, like that Ruby is like teleporting around and Harriet's running and Weiss is, using her glyphs. And that sort of shows them sort of figuring out how for all of them to work together in a combat environment. How they can use each other's skills to sort of, work together like that. Because that's something Weiss and Ruby have done a lot, but Harriet is a new addition into their learning how to run with Weiss's glyphs. We've got full Team Funky.
I think the glyphs were more just to allow Ruby to I think it was to remain afloat.
Yeah.
Basically, because we don't really know what the limit on her being able to stay in the air is, but that was what I was thinking of. Because I don't think the glyphs weren't under Harriet's feet; they were only under Ruby, weren't they?
Let me.
I don't know. I'd have to go watch it again to be sure, but.
I'm just gonna scrub back just to see, but you may resume with the topics.
I love that Cobalt and Ivory are referring to the blue, black, and white gold dress meme. I was not aware of that, and I hate that.
I don't. That's what people think it is. I don't know if it is, but
memes die so quickly that there's no way to present them in animation where they're completely relevant anymore.
Yeah, that it's going to be irrelevant. That's a years-old meme, though. That's the thing. Marriott and John bromance. Yeah, I was all about the Jean and Flint bromance, excuse me.
Why not both?
Jean can have boyfriends, too.
Yeah, of course he can. Only Ruby. Oh, okay. So this whole montage was so good, and really watering our crops for montage, because we've wanted montage stuff for ages and they haven't. It's not really a thing that they've done. Jean has two hands.
Oh god.
Oh god.
And especially since this is the end of Act 1 of Volume 7, it's a great way to catch us up on how everyone has adjusted to their new schedules in Atlas before their lives are ruined.
That's a good point. Neon Cat was a years-old meme even when Volume 3 started, so... Neon is a really outdated meme at this point.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Neon's gonna do whatever Neon's gonna do.
Okay, so I want to talk about...
The last thing I have on the montage, though, is about the final shot of them all falling asleep on each other and how fucking cute it was.
Yeah, it was adorable, and I'm so glad that they did that. Nora using a weapon to fly like a witch. Yeah, we're going to get to that, because that was interesting. So, yeah, I love that final shot is the thing that exists. I loved seeing Flint and Neon get new designs, but I hate neons. I really don't like it.
She's a lot to handle.
Just something about it. I couldn't even really tell you what. Just I don't like it. There's a few things that I don't like about it. I don't like the suspender bit at the front. I think it looks dumb. I don't like the color scheme, and I don't like how much of her midriff is showing because she's in fucking Atlas. It makes no sense. Why has she got her entire stomach exposed? What are you doing? It's freezing.
I kind of made the comment that your aura can keep you alive in the cold.
Yeah.
So she's probably fine.
They're all of them, though, are still rugged up. And, like, she's just like, hey, I've got my entire midsection out because it's snowing outside. Look at me. I'm like, I hate that. It's so stupid. Ugh. I loved her hoodie, though, with the cat ears on it. That's adorable.
Oh, that was... And the little, like, midden gloves.
And I also don't like her hair either.
Yeah, the hair is a little weird.
The hair is a little weird.
The hair is reminiscent of Scary Spice in the 90s. Mel B. But I just don't like it. I don't think it's a good design for her. I also don't like how ripped the leggings are. I'm like, why are you exposing so much skin? It's literally nothing degrees outside. So, like, why? I just don't understand it. It just doesn't make any sense to me. And it bothers me when I see them have so much skin exposed when the weather doesn't support it. And, like, I know that when we saw her in Volume 3, it was a similar sort of story, but she was in Vale at the time. It's warmer in Vale. So, but, I mean, the same argument could be had for that. But, again, it's like... I like to think the show has grown since then, and everybody else is rugged up, so why is she not rugged up? Like, it just doesn't make any sense to me. But also, Ivory's entire chest is out, so...
Yeah.
What's going on there? I like that her hair is like Caddy's.
Beauty is pain.
Yeah, her hair is less Caddy, is more Scary Spice. But she's got actual cat ears on her hoodie, which is super cute. But, yeah, I like the way Neon looks, but I don't like her design at all. I don't think it suits her. The rainbow effects that they had behind her look incredible. The particle effects that they used for those, had the way they sort of seem to float. They look really good. I'm really impressed with that. Especially considering how it looked in Volume 3 when it was just like a streak of rainbow. It looks so bad.
Oh, poser. Poser, you tried.
So bad. Or maybe it's like a magical heater in disguise. I don't know. It just doesn't make any sense to me. Amazingly, Flint only adds a lacquer to his outfit. His outfits had work. It's very similar to his old one. But, yeah, it's definitely different. But, yeah, it's good to finally see the rest of Team Funky as well.
And we said Ivory, but the other one's Cobalt.
Yeah,
I didn't catch that on my first time through the episode, but I was like... But Nora said that she wanted to eat a sandwich the size of Cobalt,
yeah.
And then
a
they
literal
were
sandwich
leaving,
appears.
And then a little sandwich, yeah. And then as they were leaving, Neon was like, "Hey, Ivory, you want to go get some froyo or whatever?"
Hey, Ivory, if you're gonna go get froyo, can we? And then you can't hear the rest. But yeah.
I will say though I'm a big fan of Meg, and her voice is very distinctive in Volume 3. But in this episode, she almost didn't sound like I could separate her from the character a bit. And I think that's really good.
For half a second.
I just think that she did a really good job on Neon in this episode.
For half a second, I was like, is that Meg? Oh, yeah, it's still her. It doesn't sound like her. But, like, she did a really good job of, like, voicing the character as the character rather than as herself. So, yeah. She definitely, that was really cool. I wonder if we'll see Funky again. I don't think they go to all that trouble of giving them new designs if we were only going to see them this once. So I'm sure they'll crop up again at some point.
please let them reunite with Weiss and be like, we're going to help you destroy your father's business.
Please.
Yeah.
Especially because we know how Flint feels about the Schnee family. Yeah. And Flint kicked her ass last time they met, so I would like to see Weiss kick his ass for a change.
Weiss has like the most versatile OP semblance, and yet she struggles so much.
Because she herself is, I don't want to use the word weak. She's not weak. She's very strong, but she is not. She doesn't have the level of strength that say Yang does, or even Ruby.
She's a glass canyon.
She's a glass canyon, exactly. Like she has
cannon, not canyon.
Canyon.
He's a whole canyon.
Said canyon.
We both said canyon.
We both said canyon. She's a glass cannon. She has, like you said, this massively OP semblance that is so versatile. She can do so much with it. But if you flick her, she will fall over. Like she's not very tough.
It's also the fact that the others are able to fight with other semblance, but Weiss has to use hers constantly.
Yeah, she relies a lot on her semblance because physically she doesn't have a lot to work with. She is fine against Grimm, but against people she struggles. But yeah, against Grimm she can like fly all over the place and stab them with her rapier, and then like eventually they'll die. But you know, with people it's different because people are smarter than Grimm in general. So you know, it's not.
I mean, she was pretty good at fighting people in Volume 2.
She's still lost every fight that she's ever been in against a person.
Yeah.
Every fight.
She almost. True. She almost beat White Fang Lieutenant.
She didn't. I mean, she was doing really well.
She was kicking his ass until
she was doing really well, and then he slammed her head in the floor, and she was done. I'm like, Weiss, honey, come on. No.
It's a very good thing her aura was still intact after that.
She lost against the White Fang Lieutenant. She lost against Cinder pretty hard. She lost against Vanal pretty hard again. Well, I mean, it wasn't really a fight with Cinder because Cinder just sort of chucked a spear at her, and that was that. But she lost against Vanal in the first place, and her aura was cut off by Vanal. Who else has she fought that's a person? Lots of people. Yeah, I can't even think of them now.
In the final tournament, she had
every fight that she had in the final tournament was a disaster. So yeah, she lost against Flynn and Neon.
Maybe one day you'll win a fight. Maybe
one day, Weiss. Oh, and she lost the death battle, but we knew she was gonna lose, so that's fine. Yeah. Weiss got stuck.
I'm still not over the fact that her anima outfit is more blue in the death battle than it is in than it was in the show.
Yeah.
But yeah, literally every fight she's had against a person, she has lost miserably. So, but Grimm, she's fine. She can handle Grimm. Grimm are good. She can handle mechs too, apparently. But yeah, people, nah. She's not very good. She probably lost because she got hit by a chainsaw sword. Yeah, I mean, she got knocked out before that. So he literally grabbed her and was like,
sword.
Bam!
It was just a chainsaw.
Done. Yeah, it was literally just a chainsaw, a very long one. But yeah, he just grabbed her and was like, bam, and that was it. She was done, out for the count. But yeah, she's not a people person. That's very true. But yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think if she fought any other people. No, I think that's everybody.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
But yeah, she doesn't have a great track record, let's put it that way. Weiss and Yang
it hurts.
She needs
team.
friends.
They do. She is a caster and she needs a tank, exactly. That's why the only reason they won that fight in Volume 3 was because of Yang and her temper. So, I mean, they wouldn't have won apart from that. Maybe Twitter just put out a promo, vote for Robin, tweet for tomorrow's app. Oh, God. My problem is that for all the hype and build up, there was no Weiss versus Emerald. I know, but like again, just because it's in the intro doesn't mean it's going to happen in the show necessarily. A lot of it is either symbolic or in there because they needed somebody for Weiss to fight in the intro.
Yeah.
So, she embodies Snow
White. Very important because of the contrast between their characters and where they came from.
Yeah.
Like maybe if they had the time.
Yeah.
I just don't know when they would have done it unless they took out that. Unless they took out the coffee fight versus them, but then they couldn't have gone to the end
they were supposed
together.
to have another fight with Pyrrha and Nora versus Sun and Neptune in there, but that didn't end up happening. Because, you know, there was too much in there already and they just didn't have the time for it or the room for it. But yeah.
That's actually the interesting thing about the training room in this episode is I think it was based off of that one biome that we didn't.
Yeah, that didn't end up happening.
Yeah, the gravity one that like we saw a glimpse of it, but no one ever fought in it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, buddy, welcome to the stream. Yeah, so on the topic of promos, I want to talk about the spoiler thing because I'm still mad about it. And grabs her as he was stuck in the air. Notice volume 2 has floating issues and Weiss getting decked in that fight is one of the most notable. Yeah, I mean, it still has floating issues to this day. But we just saw that with Clover in Chapter 3. That really annoys me. But anyway, I want to talk about this thing that the Ruby Twitter tweeted earlier this week that really pissed me off. They basically tweeted, with no spoiler tags, I might add, a sort of promo clip of some various clips from Volume 7 so far, and then a clip from next chapter that was about 3 seconds long and spoiled a huge plot point in the next chapter. And I'm like, the least you could have done was warned people that that was in there. I don't know why they thought that was a good idea. I'm like, it feels to me like they have completely forgotten about the reactor community this year. Because not only are they taking more than a week and a half to unblock fucking reactions, they're also posting casually spoilers on Twitter for people to watch. And, like, there was no warning. Yeah, why say not to spoil something if you're going to spoil it anyway? It is a spoiler, because it was a clip from a chapter that hasn't released yet. They didn't say that there was going to be a clip in there from a chapter that hasn't released yet. So, of course, if they don't warn us, people are going to watch it thinking it's just... And it was full of clips that we've already seen from previous chapters. And then that clip was in there. And it's just... It's not even like it was a throwaway clip. If it was a throwaway clip from something insignificant from Chapter 6, fine. But the fact that it was what it was is a massive plot spoiler. And I'm pissed off for myself, and I'm pissed off for all of the reactors that they didn't even bother to include the spoiler tags in the tweet or warn us that there was a clip from an upcoming chapter. At least when they post like a teaser for the upcoming chapter, we know that they're posting a teaser for the upcoming chapter and we can just not watch it.
Yeah.
But in this case,
when they would do it on Ruby Rewind, they'd always be like, and now we're showing the teaser for the next, or the clip from the next episode. And like when I would watch Ruby Rewind, I'd be like, okay, not watching anymore.
Crystal, it's not the same thing as a trailer. When you are watching a trailer, you know you're going to see content from the upcoming volume because it's a fucking trailer. This was not labeled as a teaser. It was a promotional clip that they included a massive spoiler for, and that's not on. It's just not on. And there's no other way to put it, especially when they have such a huge reactor community. I'm really pissed off for them. And I'm like, it made me feel like I picked the perfect year to stop reacting to this show. Because the spoilers are out of fucking control. And something needs to be done.
Not to mention, RT did also delete that post.
They did.
Right?
And if they deleted it, they know that they fucked up and made a mistake.
Yeah, that means they know they fucked up. Like,
it was done. And they've changed thumbnails to chapters before for the same reasons, because they've included huge spoilers in thumbnails and things like that. I don't think it was I don't know if it was so much an honest mistake as it was an oversight. You got spoiled because everyone talked about it. Exactly. And that's what happens.
It's the same dodge.
Yeah, that's what happens. Like, you don't even have to see it. If they post that out, people are going to talk about it, and then you're going to get spoiled that way. They deleted it from the backlash because they realized that it was a spoiler and they fucked up and they shouldn't have posted it. That's why. There was backlash because people were justifiably angry that they'd done that. All they had to do was say, there's a clip from Chapter 6 in here. That's all they had to do, and they didn't even bother to do that. They just posted it like it was nothing. And I'm just pissed off for the reactor community, especially because I'm already pissed off for the reactor community because it's taking so long to unblock reactions. And it's a complete and utter dog's breakfast this year. And I'm getting really over it. And I don't know if they just laid off all of their unblocking staff or what, but something needs to be done about it. It's getting ridiculous at this point. I understand that there are hundreds of people that react to the show, but they know that. They know that every year there's hundreds of people that react to the show. So what they should be doing is getting on top of it a lot earlier than they actually are. So it's not taking 7 to 9 days after the chapter's been released for the public for the reaction to come out. That's just...
Yeah.
That's just
Lorelei's
bad.
Lorelei's chapter 4 didn't come out till yesterday or today even.
It's been
like
2 weeks.
So late.
Since she uploaded it. 2 weeks. I'm like, that is ridiculous. Because in, like, even last year, some chapters, it was taking maybe a day or two longer. But, like, that was like, that's fine. But 2 weeks after they upload the reaction, it's still not unblocked. I'm like, that's not acceptable. At this point, it's just like, it's only 1 or 2 people, and that's not acceptable. That's really not. When they've got hundreds of reactions to go through, 1 or 2 people can't do that in a week. It's just not feasible. They need to do something about it. It's really, really bad. And, like, these reactors, their videos aren't even getting watched because they're being uploaded so late. And, like, certain people are being unblocked a lot sooner than other people are as well. Whereas before it was consistent, everybody was sort of getting unblocked around the same day. But yeah, some people, and it's not even to do with who uploads earliest either, because I know Larissa uploads hers as soon as possible. She uploaded her chapter 4 one on the Sunday that she recorded it. 2 weeks later, it was still blocked. And I'm like, that's not on at all. Something needs to be done about it. Liam Caviston hasn't been unblocked. It hasn't been blocked yet. Yeah, and that's the thing. The inconsistency with some people haven't been blocked. Some people aren't even getting claimed. Like, I know Larissa, like, her chapter 4 didn't get unblocked for 2 weeks. One of them hasn't been claimed. One of them was claimed but not blocked. I'm like, come on, guys. Like, this whole process is complicated enough without having any consistency whatsoever. But
it also is to keep them from having just people post the episodes, because that's also been happening a lot this volume.
Yeah, it has been happening.
Where people are just posting it immediately.
I have been actually searching every week for the people doing that and reporting them directly to Rooster Teeth, because you just can't do that shit. You're a piece of shit if you do that. They shouldn't prioritize different people over others. And they are, and they say they're not, but they are. And that's just the sad reality of it. Xiaolong said something about it being private and that being the problem. No, because that's how it's always worked. They always asked us to have the videos private because that's how you schedule them, by making them private. You private them, you schedule them, and then Rooster Teeth can look at them and unblock them. But yeah, I don't know what's going on this year, but it's a mess and it needs to be sorted. Yeah, it's just not good. But yeah, anyway, I will stop harping on about that now because I'm just so mad about it. But yeah,
the truth must be spoken. So
yes, it needs to be addressed because it's really terrible. And I knew that claims are usually done by AIs and bots, so it's usually an automatic claim. YouTube's algorithms have been a shit show for years. Yeah, that's true. That is a fact.
But the claims aren't the problem. It's that how they're getting unblocked is the problem. Because before, you used to just be able to, like, you put, like, Volume 6, you just put in the claim and they would get to it during the week at some point. And even if it didn't, it was usually, would get checked by, like, Monday at the latest, sort of a thing. Where now it's like Monday is at the earliest you can hope to get unblocked.
Yeah.
A week after it, the next Monday.
Yeah.
So it is kind of a thing where it's like, it's so different now.
It's a mess.
That it's like, and so many reactors are like, what do we do?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's something on Rooster Teeth's end, and I wish that they could be more transparent about it, quite honestly.
Accept responsibility a little bit, yeah.
Yeah. And I know that, like, they can't be as transparent as they used to be because they're becoming more corporatized, but at the same time, it's frustrating.
It's very frustrating for everybody involved. It's frustrating for me, even though I'm not doing reactions this year, thank God, because it's a mess. But, like, it's frustrating for me because a lot of the reactors are friends of mine, and to see them have to struggle with this when they're just doing the same thing they've done every year and they're doing all the right stuff, their reactions not being unblocked. And I'm like, this is their entire these videos are their core audience base. Like these are the videos that most people come to their channels to watch, and those videos are not getting watched because they're being unblocked 2 weeks late, and it's like I'm pissed off for them. RT does seem kind of tone deaf a lot of times. Yeah, I wish they would take responsibility and say we've fucked up. We know that there's a problem, and we're going to work on fixing it. That's all they have to say, but they won't even say that. And you're right.
Or even if it's just we don't have the manpower to, we're severely understaffed with people checking these claims.
At this
point, just saying that would be like people be like, okay, we get it. Like,
it would be something to go
let us know what's happening, please.
At this point, even an excuse is better than silence. Like, just tell us something. Tell us what's going on. Tell us why this is such a mess. And more than likely, we will be understanding. So, but Thomas, you're absolutely right in saying that RT is becoming more corporatized. Ever since they got absorbed by Full Screen, it's slowly going in that direction. And it makes me very worried for RT's future, especially with recent things like Genlock Season 2 and stuff like that, and a lot of people being laid off, and it's just
because after the Full Screen absorption, there was a lot of corporate meddling behind the scenes, and now Rooster Teeth, along with Verve and Crunchyroll, are owned by Warner Media, and they're under AT&T. And you can just see AT&T looks like they're trying to consolidate all of their media into one umbrella. Mm-hmm. And it makes me very, very worried for Rooster Teeth.
Yeah.
Specifically their animation department, because that's their big money maker.
They're being sucked into a part of a monopoly, which is very scary to watch. It makes me really worried for their future, because I'm somebody who's been a fan since like 14. I've been around for a long time, and they've recently done away with grandfather subscriptions, which I've been on for 10 years. And so now I'm well, I'm not going to have First after Ruby's done, because Ruby's the only reason I have First membership. And I'm it's too much for me to pay for that service now when I'm only watching one show. And I'm just, and the merch thing is a huge problem with being Hanabi recently stated that their partnership with Rooster Teeth is over, and that's why RTX Australia hasn't happened again. And for them to originally do an RTX in Australia first, because in Australia we have the biggest fan base for Rooster Teeth outside of the US. For them to sort of go to all of that trouble with establishing this great event that's hugely popular in Australia, and people travel from all over the country to go to RTX. There were 22,000 people at the last RTX. That's more than justifiable for them to hold the event. But because this partnership has ended, that's no longer going to happen. And it's a big slap in the face for the Australian community. And that partnership has crumbled, because now also the merch store is closing. And literally when they had the Black Friday sales, I went onto the US merch store. I put 2 t-shirts into the checkout. The shipping was $23 US. That's nearly $40 Australian for shipping. And then altogether, it was 120 Australian dollars for 2 shirts. I was absolutely mortified. I was I literally can't afford to buy Rooster Teeth merch anymore, because your shipping is fucking ridiculous. And those were on sale. That's what got me. These shirts were on sale at the time. They were 40% off. And I was if I can't afford this on sale, I'm never going to be able to afford this. It's not justifiable to spend that much money on 2 t-shirts. And unless they do something about it, I'm just not going to buy Ruby merch. It's just not going to happen, because I can't afford it. $23 shipping is ludicrous. They asked $16 California for shipping Canada for shipping for Canada. Yeah, that's Canada. You're right next door. Why is it so expensive? I'm it's ridiculous at this point. I'm just I can't justify spending that much money.
I'm just wondering why like the partnership you mentioned crumbled because what's the company that you mentioned that their relationship
is the company that was sort of communicating with Rooster Teeth to do all the Australian merch and the Australian RTX and all of that sort of stuff. So that was the partnership that they had with them to sort of get them over here to do all those events and have the merch shipped to Australia and things like that. And I don't know the reason for the crumbling between the partnership between Hanabi and Rooster Teeth, but I have a hunch it has something to do with full screen.
Well, the thing is, I'm not sure full screen really exists anymore because the parent company changed since the merger. Okay, I'm just gonna look it up, see who Hanabi is owned by. If I can find it.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous. And at this point, it is literally it's literally like if you're an international fan, there's nothing for you. There's no more RTX. There's no more. You can't afford to buy merch because it's all US based now. Even the UK store was up for like a week and then it died after that. And like Otto Media, I think so. Dodge, I think you might be right.
Yeah, it's Otto Media.
Yeah. But yeah, basically. It's just like a huge slap in the face to international fans, not just Australia, but the UK as well. They're suffering from the same issue.
It's like not all the choices are up to Rooster Teeth, so this might just be a mandate from higher up. Like, we know you care about your international fans, but we need to pad our bottom line.
Yeah,
so
essentially, we don't care about them. And that's the message that's being sent because we're not being looked after. And we're like, okay, well, we just won't buy your merch or come to RTX Austin because we can't fucking afford it. It's ridiculous. So, yeah.
Yeah, who wants to pay $4,000 to go to a convention for 3 days?
Literally not me.
Like, literally.
Yeah. I always wanted to come to RTX Austin one day, but every year it's more and more expensive to look at going. And I'm like, this is just never going to happen. That's just the reality of it. And like RTX Sydney for me was like the good middle ground where I'm like, yeah, I can afford to go to Sydney for a weekend and come to RTX and do all of those things and see the Ruby finale and things like that. But the fact that they recently said on the RT podcast, we want to do another RTX Australia, but in another city and we're not sure when. And then we find out about the Hanabi partnership crumbling and it doesn't look like that's going to happen now. I really wish they would just say, we can't do it. Instead of being like, we want to do it, we might do it, we will do it later, not right now. Just fucking say you can't if you can't.
Yeah, let this all be just a warning for, I don't know what business owners would be watching this, but like, be careful about who you let be your parent companies.
Yeah.
Why is it 4th July weekend? Exactly. Why in the fuck is RTX Austin on 4th of July weekend? What are they doing? And this is the same.
I did not know that.
The last RTX Sydney we went to was on Chinese New Year weekend. And I'm like,
oh God.
Why would you do that on Chinese New Year weekend in Sydney? Sydney has a massive Chinese culture. There's a huge Chinatown in Sydney. There was a big event on for Chinese New Year, the year of the last RTX Australia. So we went on that weekend. Guess what? Hotel prices were through the fucking roof, weren't they? Because it's Chinese New Year weekend. And I'm like, why would you do that? It's either ignorance or it's just oversight completely. But yeah, the fact that they're doing RTX Austin this year on 4th of July weekend, I'm like, you don't learn ever from these things because you should not be doing that. You should be delaying it a week at the least. Oh my God.
It could also just come down to when they have availabilities in convention centers, because maybe most conventions are like, oh, we don't want to do the 4th of July weekend.
Yeah, do you know why? Because they're not fucking stupid. Nobody wants the 4th of July weekend. Because guess what? Now everybody, like, that they're going to limit who they can have at the convention as far as talent goes because it's 4th of July weekend. And the people that do go to the convention are missing out on their 4th of July. So it's like, and the people that attend the convention also missing out on their 4th of July. And it's like, what are you doing? This is not good business practice. What on earth do you want this to fail? Because it's going to if you keep doing that shit. It makes me so mad.
I'm down a very dark
They just don't learn from this shit. And I'm like, RT, you're going to drill yourselves into the ground with these terrible business practices. It's really bad.
Or get Or just get fully absorbed by Warner until Ruby is not a Rooster Teeth thing anymore.
Yeah. And that's what scares me, is that we won't even get to the end of Ruby before I won't be able to watch it because it's on a pay-to-watch platform of some description on Warner Brothers. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, at that point, I just probably will wait until the whole volume's out on a free-to-watch platform and then watch it. And that will essentially be the death of my Ruby content. So, it's like my channel's not dead already. But, yeah. So...
I feel like Rooster Teeth, though, is doing everything that they can to hold on to Ruby.
Yeah.
Like...
For now.
Yeah, but the question is, how long can they hold out?
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
Ruby is their most popular platform these days, and that wasn't always the case. But these days it is. And, like, with all this announcement with Genlock Season 2, I'm like, what the fuck are you people doing? Why are you doing
might have been the only
Season 2?
Season 2, given Season 1 lost so much money.
Season 1 lost a lot of money because I don't think they marketed it very well. And they had a lot of A-list actors in the voice cast too, which would have cost them a lot of money. And, like, when they could have really just sourced, you know, inward talent as they have done for previous shows, and that has worked for them. Yeah, we'll get back on track in a second, Bartek. But yeah, just like... After Grey left, we all assumed that would be the death of Genlock. And then they're like, Season 2, coming this year. And I'm like, where from? Like, and I haven't seen any marketing for it since. I mean, you can't be the judge of whether Grey was a dick or not. We were not there. We've all heard the same reports and things like that. But, you know, it's he said, she said. So, but... regardless, that's besides the point. He was the director of Genlock, so everybody assumed when he left that would be it for Genlock, and then out of nowhere they were like Season 2, and then nothing since. And I mean next year. Sorry, Bartek. I don't know why I thought it was 2020 already. My brain's getting ahead of me. But yeah, they're like
you've time traveled
next year, and we were like, okay. Don't do that. That's a bad idea. That's a waste of money, and it's going to fall as flat, if not more flat, than Season 1. Because most people, like, that I've seen, their reaction to it is, I'm not watching that. So...
Yeah, it was... Like, it's not a bad show. It's just that the marketing, along with just general reaction to it, it's very underwhelming. And like, they were hoping it would have a Ruby, and it was nowhere near it.
It's the principle of it too, because we've heard real bad things about like crunch and like the animation team being worked overtime to push out Season 2 of Genlock, and it's like, I'm not supporting that shit. I'm not going to watch that. I didn't watch the first season. Why would I watch the second season? I just don't understand the mentality behind doing a second season of a show that flopped. It doesn't make any sense to me. So other projects were shut down because of Genlock, including Nomad Out of Nowhere. Exactly. They shut other things down. They put all of their eggs in one basket, and it fucking failed. And now they're trying to make it work, and it's just not going to. They're going to bankrupt themselves if they're not careful. What would happen if they put all their resources in Ruby? See, if they did that, that would be smart, because Ruby's their most popular platform. And it's only growing more popular. So...
Even then, I don't think they should do that, though.
No,
because
that's still not a
it's
good
just
idea.
another all your eggs in one basket sort of thing. Like, they should have their camps and their Nomad Out of Nowheres and stuff if they want to.
They should
keep trying to do things.
They need another show that's comparable to Ruby's level of success.
Well, it's going to fall even flatter, not because of the higher prices for first, but because they're moving Genlock to a third-party platform. And, like, they're moving it to HBO, and it's going to be on HBO exclusively for 3 months. So guess what? You're going to lose a bunch of Rooster Teeth First members because of that, if they haven't already. I've seen so many
especially the
people
fact that it's going from HBO Max directly to First, another paywall.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, I'm not getting an HBO subscription to watch Season 2 of Genlock. Like, that's not going to happen. I don't know what they were thinking. I think they're trying to bring it to a mainstream audience, but it's like, it's not a mainstream show, and it's never going to be. So why are you trying to make it be a mainstream show? It's not going to work at all. It's usually what I do with Stokes.
That's again, just all comes down to the corporate side of things.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, we've talked about that for way too long, but like, Teeth, be very careful.
We started on bitching and just kept bitching.
Yeah, we started off on the bitching train and it didn't stop. Maybe it's Thomas. I blame Thomas. It's because Thomas is here.
you do this anyway.
I do this every week. Let's be real. But yeah, no, Rooster Teeth, you need to be very, very careful. Because if you keep isolating your fans the way that you are, you're going to lose them all. Eventually. It's going to happen. And, we've seen it happen to other companies before. Where they suddenly behave like they don't give a shit about their fans, and their fans go, okay, we'll go find somebody else, because it's not like you're the only fucking company on the internet that creates content, so be very careful. But we haven't even gotten to Robin yet. I know, we'll get to Robin. Boopcast has to finish before next week's.
It's been a while, right?
The Corner of Remnant starts in 24 minutes. So,
oh god,
yeah,
so we're so sorry, Larissa.
Fine. But anyway,
so
the episode.
Do we have anything else to say on the Team Funky section?
Not
I don't
really
think so.
No.
Only thing I had to say was about Jean's peace thing. I found it so cringy. I was like, ugh, Jean, no.
He only did that because Flint did it too, though. He was just he's like a dog. He just copies you. But yeah, no, it was cringe, but it was supposed to be cringe, so it's fine. But Nora, yeah.
I mean, it was cute, Dodge, but I was still oh, Jean, you think you're so cool, and you're really not.
He really reminds me actually of Neptune now, where Neptune's I try really, really hard. I feel like Jean's trying really, really hard. Someone jumped the ship at the right time when it comes to quote unquote Kruby. Excuse me. So yeah, what was after the Team Funky scene? What was after that?
Never miss a beat. That's funny, Chozo. That's Neon and Oscar's ship name.
Oh yeah, Neon calling him a cute farm boy and him blushing. I'm like, oh, Oscar, you're so cute. But also she's too old for you. Sorry.
I'm very, very concerned for Oscar.
Mm-hmm. Do we know what year of Academy level Team Funky was in the Vital tournament?
I don't think we ever got a year.
Well, they were either first year or third year. But I don't remember which one it was.
I don't remember any year being said.
I don't remember them ever really specifying what years people were in outside of Volume 2.
Yeah, Team Coffee were third years. We know that, but yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure what year they were. Maybe they were second year. I don't know.
I think they were second year.
Either way, she's far too old for him because he's 15. So,
forgetting how young Oscar is compared to everyone else.
Yeah, Oscar is a little tiny child compared to everybody else. But yeah, he doesn't really behave that way. And he's very mature for his age as well. He's got a lot of weight on his shoulders, poor little guy. So
he does have 1,000-year-old spirit inside of him, so
Probably. Don't say inside of him. Ugh!
I couldn't figure out how to say it in a way that was better in his head.
Inside his mind. Inside his mind.
You just don't say it. So yeah, we never knew, but yeah. So that anyway. What was after this part? Oh, it was Ruby. Ruby
yeah,
the supply run. Yeah. I love that starts off with Ruby being like, "Not that I'm bored." That's what people say when they're bored. Ruby. Within his soul. I mean, it's still pushing it. But I just love the way that Penny is so she gets right up in Ruby's face and is like, "Ruby, I'd like to tell you something." She's like, "Hello." But she's, yeah, I love the way Penny is has no concept of personal space and social etiquette and things like that. It's just so funny to me. She is a robot, but yeah, showing a soul with
who's not allowed to have friends.
Yeah, I didn't like her line being General Ironwood says I don't have time for friends. I was like, I wonder what Ruby thinks about that. Because Ruby made a face. She was like, "Oh, I don't like that at all." Because Ruby's already on the fence about trusting Ironwood, and that sounds really aggressive, almost.
Yeah, and it makes me wonder what they have planned for her. Because when Robin mockingly says she's the protector of Mantle when she's siding with the military, it makes me wonder: is is Penny gonna realize that she's on not the best side and she's not doing what she needs to be doing?
Yeah. That plus the Ace Ops last episode. Yeah. So Penny would totally do that. So yeah, but with Penny, she where was I going with this? I don't know. Oh, it's probably making Ruby sort of think about, you know, what's being said behind closed doors. That's the sort of thing that Ironwood is saying to Penny. They don't allow people to be anime around here. Gosh. Do you think Ironwood doesn't?
It just made me wonder though. Is where's CL? CL Soleil?
Yeah, where is?
Oh, fuck knows. I couldn't care less.
Issa would love a chance to voice in Ruby again. Where is CL?
I did see a theory. Some people think that Penny's soul was created by the Staff of Creation, and so CL is the blue fairy, is the spirit that dwells in it that was watching over her.
Oh, interesting.
I'm not sure how I feel about that.
I don't think it's true, but that's interesting.
Yeah.
Not in why, but like...
Yeah. It's interesting, though. But yeah, I think she was definitely a throwaway character. I don't think we're going to see her again.
Yeah.
Rip that design.
Yeah. I think I would get rid of her because she's not allowed to have friends. Yeah, well, that's the thing. Like, does Ironwood see her as a person?
Yikes.
Yeah. That's the good question, is that does Ironwood see Penny as a person? It's interesting. Hey, Liz, aren't you supposed to be setting up? Yeah, does Ironwood see Penny as a person rather than an android is an interesting question.
I think so. He must.
Surely.
As shady
I would
as
hope so.
he kind of is, I don't think he's
Heartless.
Heartless and doesn't see her that way. He must, especially because I don't know, it's different if to have her on his side, and I don't know. I don't see him doing that.
No, not if he doesn't let her have friends.
If you saw Penny as only a weapon, I believe Pietro would have some very choice words.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Telling her
And
that
also,
she
I don't know
doesn't
if
have
it's
time
necessarily...
for friends is really rubs me the wrong way.
I think that he does. I don't think he would necessarily meant it in the way of you can't have time for friends, but it's more that there is so much they need to do to keep Mantle and Atlas going, and Penny is an invaluable resource, and they need her. They can't have her going off and having friend dates.
I am waiting for the other shoe to drop with Ironwood still, because it's going to. And I don't think that the sort of persona that he's putting on now is gonna... I don't think that facade's gonna stay up for very long. Especially when he learns the truth about what they know. Penny said relationships are varied and interesting. I thought she was going to talk about Blake and Yang. I know, it felt like they were setting that up, and then she didn't talk about it. Yeah.
I was thinking nuts and bolts, but okay.
Yeah, Penny really tensed up at how Robin called her the protector of Mantle. There are people who don't like her presence. That's probably true, but I think she was more mocking her because she's siding with Atlas. What do you think about the theory of Ironwood having a truth detector semblance? I don't think it's true, because he's acting way too casual. I don't think that's the case at all. If Ironwood is hiding things from us, what do you think that would be? I don't think he's hiding things. I think he knows more than he's letting on. If he's privy to the conversations that Team Ruby and that are having, then he's being very coy about it. So... It's going to be interesting. Wonder what his semblance is. So do I. But
there are a few professors who've never had semblances, like Port and even Leo.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Penny mentions that the reason they are running the supplies by truck is because they're too heavy to carry by airship, and they'd need dust to sort of lift them. And I always forget about the fact that dust is kind of a sought after commodity right now. It's not readily available in abundance at the moment, so they do have to watch how much dust they use, which is an explanation for why we haven't seen them use a lot of dust rounds and things like that, because there's no point in wasting it if they don't have to.
Well, and also it's more to do with they're literally about to... Basically, to get Amity Coliseum into space, they are going to just have to fucking, explosion it up into the sky. Like,
essentially.
they're gonna need so much dust to get it up there, because like
she does mention that they need dust for the launch. Yeah. Iron wants to be Penny to be as disconnected to emotions and relationships as possible. I don't think that that's necessarily true. I'm worried that Iron would have a similar reaction to the truth as Cory did. Yeah, he's going to have he's gonna explode. I feel like the facade he's projecting is very fragile. It's gonna just take that one thing to make him explode.
He's too much of a control freak. Once he finds out that there's literally, like, this is something that's entirely out of his control, he's gonna lose his goddamn mind. Like,
yeah, either he'll give up completely, or he'll double down on the strategy that's bound to fail, but just accelerate it.
Yeah, exactly.
Shouldn't there be a ton of dust around since they can't export any? The SheNoob Company controls most of it, though. That's the problem. Jacques isn't gonna just readily share it with the military. So.
Or he's gonna price gouge the shit out of them.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Because he's petty as fuck.
Yeah. Essentially. You think he'll find out somehow else, or will the kids tell him? I don't think they'll get the chance to tell him.
I really worry that he's gonna find out some other way. I don't know what that way is, but I'm like, I want the kids to tell him, but
that's not gonna happen.
I don't know.
But Brandon, Ironwood's also not aware of the fact that Salem can't be killed. So he probably intends to destroy her like anybody else, because he's not aware that she can't be destroyed that way. So
he's planning to do what Salem did with the old civilization of people, raise an army, charge after her.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Kill the castle, and then, oh shit, she's still alive.
Good luck against her flying monkeys. That's all I have to say. But
oh yeah, I'm scared for when those things get here.
Yeah. So yeah, the Penny and Ruby scene, that was really cool. And Ruby's sort of reaction to what Penny's saying about, what Ironwood said and things like that, and asking her, did you manage to make any other friends since Beacon? And like, almost like she was hoping that Penny would say no. But also like wanting her to have had that chance, but also being like, almost like wanting Penny to herself kind of thing. But yeah, I don't know. I got weird vibes from Ruby during that scene, definitely, with her reactions to what
I don't think saying. That she... I don't think it was necessarily like possessive or anything.
I'm not saying
think
like possessive, but like being like, have you managed to make any other friends? And being like, because
I think she just thought that she didn't want Penny to be lonely, or didn't like the idea that Penny's been alone this entire time. Like,
her only friend has been Winter. Winter doesn't like anyone.
We don't know how long Penny's been back either. It doesn't seem like it's been really that long. In the grand scheme of things, because Pietro did say it took him a while to rebuild her. It's only been not quite 2 years, so I don't think she's been around for that long. Penny had trouble making friends back at Beacon. Yeah, I mean, she glommed onto Ruby pretty quickly, but yeah, outside of that, Team Ruby are really the only people she could consider friends, I think.
Plus, also, it'd probably be hard to be friends with the girl who you watched get ripped in half on live TV.
Yeah.
That would be a bit of a damper.
Yeah.
That's something that's still kind of bothering me a little bit, is the fact that everybody seems kind of chill after she got ripped apart and thought she was dead for this whole time, and they're kind of just back to normal completely. And I'm like, there's got to be something else. Like, Ruby's going to have a breakdown at some point, right?
Sure.
Please?
It was traumatic for Ruby, and she's talked about it before. But, it's got to be addressed. They can't just gloss over that. About Mac too. So, what would he even do when he finds out about the relic or Salem? Things are kind of out of control at this point. Well, other shoe. That's what I'm waiting for.
Well, first of all, like, the whole kingdom of Atlas would be under martial law.
It essentially already is.
It already is.
Yeah. Things are not good at all. But anyway, moving on from that to the extremely gay scene in the back of the truck. Oh wow, that sounds way worse.
Just let it out.
The Clover and Crowe were just straight up fucking.
Oh my god.
Everything okay up there, Ruby?
And Ruby's just like, God fucking kill me right now.
Yeah. I love that they were playing a card game here, because I'm like, Qrow, why are you playing a card game against literally a dude who has
the luckiest person alive?
Yeah, and he's like, you know, do you want to call it quits? Because, like, there's literally no point. I'm like, you must enjoy punishment or something. Which wouldn't surprise me, to be honest. It wouldn't surprise me. That's all I'm saying. Qrow is a complete and utter bottom, if ever I've seen one.
Oh my lord.
He radiates bi energy and bottom energy simultaneously. And can
There's
relate,
so much
but
in...
anyway. There's so much to unpack. But yeah, this scene was... It's really good for them to sort of have some one-on-one interaction, and talking about, like, you know, Clover being like, your niece is really special, isn't she? And it's like, yeah, we're aware of that. Cool. But, you know, them sort of getting to bond a little bit over, I was going to say over the kids. That sounds funny. To bond a little bit over, you know, the fact that they're both sort of like team leaders in a way, and they have, you know, a bunch of people that they have to look after. And like Clover, you know, giving him compliments, and Qrow sort of like deflecting them, and, you know, and just, you know, I feel like that's his sort of defense mechanism to be like, yeah, I'm not all that in a bag of potato chips. I'm actually kind of useless, and I almost got them killed several times. Like, but not in so many words.
It happens to the best of us.
Yeah. But he's come a long way.
He just needs some therapy.
Yeah, he needs some
everyone,
therapy.
Everyone in the show.
He needs some therapy, and he needs a boyfriend, and then he'll be fine.
I hope there are therapists in Redmond.
I know. I'm so living for this ship. I can't handle it. I'm like, you guys they flirt so hard and so obviously that I'm like, everything they say to each other, they're just flirting. And Clover keeps winking at him, and Crow's like, I don't know how to feel about any of this. Like, he looks like a startled deer in the headlights every time he looks at Clover. And I'm like, especially when Clover's like, I meant deflect a compliment. The look on Crow's face is like, I don't know what to do with this. And, like, I feel like Qrow is sort of feeling himself fall for Clover, and it startled him a little bit that he's like, I did not expect this turn of events. Like, and he's like, I don't know how to feel about this extremely hot dude flirting with me. Because he's not blind to it. He's aware of it, definitely, or he wouldn't be embarrassed. So, sent you a DM on Twitter for when you get to Jacques' news thing. Oh, okay, hang on, I'll have a look at that. Yang went through the Raven thing and not a word from Qrow. Yep. Hang on, let me just have a look at this.
Yeah, I sometimes wish the show had more time for, like, one-on-one conversations, but at the same time, I also know it's like, they need to be a little bit picky about their screen time, because...
Yeah. And I think they're handling, like, screen time for the different characters really well. Not too much, not too little. But they definitely are trying to set this thing up with Qrow and Clover, and the more screen time they get together, the more nervous I get that Cory's right about them flipping this, and Clover and Qrow being at odds with each other, and I'm like, please don't do that. I need them to grow old together and be happy. I don't want them to be at odds with each other.
We finally get male LGBT rep, and it's gone now. Okay, bye.
I know, and I'm really scared that they're gonna do that. And I don't want them to. Please don't. I want him to have a conversation with Yang too. He hasn't really talked to Yang apart from telling Yang off in, like, more than a volume. Yeah. Like, every time he speaks to Yang, he's like, Yang, cut it out. And it's like,
they've been through a lot.
But yeah. I need him to talk to Yang, because he spends a lot of time with Ruby, but not really with Yang. Yeah, now we know where Yang gets it from. Yeah, exactly. The gayness, you mean? Yeah, so is that a cat in your background, Thomas? Sorry, that just distracted me. Oh no, that's your mom.
Oh no, that was my grandma.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
I thought there was
that's
an
a
animal
person.
in the background. No, it's your grandma. Beautiful. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotta go now. Have fun. We will try and wrap up soon. Going over time.
I'll try.
We
have a lot of opinions that need to be spoken.
Yes, we do. But yeah, altogether, adorable scene. I'm here for it. Also, Crow's legs are just so enormously long. Like, every time I see that scene, especially because he's sitting down in this one, I'm like, your legs go on for years. Like, oh my god. So, Clover and Robin obviously know each other. Some people have had the theory that they went to Atlas Academy together, which is probably very likely. I don't know that necessarily they were on the same team, but I think they definitely went to the same academy at the same time.
I think they were teammates.
I'm not sure about teammates. I'm on the fence.
Definitely the academy, but
yeah.
I think
the show always does stuff where it's like they can't just have like been at school at the same time. They had to have been friends, like
I feel like they
teammates
were friends at some point.
And then they discovered one of them was lawful good and the other was chaotic good, and they parted ways.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like they were friends at one stage. Yeah, definitely. They give me that sort of vibe that there's tension, but he also says, good luck at the election. And she says, I was hoping you'd play it straight with me, but like, did you just see the scene in the back of the truck? He's not playing it straight with anyone.
Damn.
Just saying.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Now, this scene, I don't like Robin. And the reason for that is she comes off as an entitled toddler throwing a tantrum. That's how she comes off to me. But, like, I also don't really like her look. I liked it more in the intro than I do in this episode. Something about her hair just looks really weird to me. And I can't put my finger on it. It looks kind of juvenile, I think, is the thing about it. She's also got a very long face, which I'm not sure what the deal with that is. She's pretty, but, like, yeah, her hair looks very juvenile. They were trying to make her sassy, but she came off as entitled. And, like, being like, just give me classified military information, because that's the thing that you're allowed to do. And I'm like, you are not using your brain. I feel like she doesn't think things through very much. She just sort of is a guns blazing kind of person and just is like, oh, well, you're not going to give me what I want? We'll fight then. And that's kind of how she approaches the situation. And I'm like, you want to be a councilwoman? Like, okay, sure. Yeah, that's going to work out well for you. Yeah, I just didn't like her. I didn't like the way she came off. I was like, yeah, she's not using her noggin here at all. She just thinks that she can sort of come in and fight whoever she wants and take whatever she wants, and without thinking really before she does that. I understand that she's frustrated because Mantle is being trodden on by Atlas a lot, and that's how it appears to them. I get her perspective. I don't like her attitude, is the difference. So, yeah, I understand where she's coming from, but you don't have to be such an entitled bitch. Like,
yeah, we agree with the principle, we don't agree with the method. Then.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, she's got rough areas that she needs to work on. And then, like, I get why she's, like that, but at the same time, she was demanding, exactly. Expected and unwilling to compromise. Here's the thing, though. She's trying to run for council, and, like, that is not the behavior somebody who's trying to run for council should be exhibiting. It's rogue behavior. So, like, I just don't...
She is a rogue.
I just don't get her, I think, is the thing.
I don't know. I feel like with the way that the kingdom is right now, that might actually be really appealing to the voters.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
or at least, especially the Mantle.
Yeah, for someone who's finally telling the elite military to, like, go screw off.
But the thing is, I don't feel like she's a good person to have in any sort of seat of power because she's too reckless. And recklessness is not good for leadership because you're not only going to get yourself in trouble, but you're going to get the people you're leading into trouble. And she doesn't know how way in over her head she is messing with all of this stuff. So that's the thing. She's not aware of how, what the stakes are or anything like that. But yeah,
she probably won't go knocking.
She rubbed me the wrong way, and I was surprised because I was expecting to like her character, and I don't at all. So it's partisan and populist, very common in current real world politics. Yeah, I feel like she's going to be popular with Mantle, but popularity, like a conqueror doesn't make a good king. So, you know, I feel like she is gonna, yeah, she's interesting. I'm not sure how I feel about her yet. And she only, like, she was going to attack them before Penny showed up. And the only reason that she backed off is because she knew she was fucked against Penny. So she knew she wouldn't win a fight against Penny because she's Penny. She has lasers and she'll cut you in half. But yeah, most likely Penny to get the most votes in Mantle. I don't think she likes Atlas. Yeah, I don't know what gave you that impression, Pro-Haste. She hates Atlas.
All our options for the council seat kind of suck.
Yeah, they're all kind of shit for varying reasons. Yeah, exactly. Populist leaders don't make good leaders. That's the thing. You can be the most popular person in the world, but if you don't know the first thing about politics, then what are you doing there? Are there no rules against someone running for office who's committed petty serious crimes like spying on a top secret military operation? Apparently not. And that's
I
what
was
gets
also
me.
kind of wondering that, where I'm like, she's admitting to spying on you, and she's literally about to rob the fuck out of you guys.
Yeah, like report her,
like,
and then she can't run for office.
still running?
Surely. Yeah, let's not start a political debate. That will just go on forever.
Oh no.
This is terrible. But people look up to Robin because everyone else is terrible by comparison. I get that, but I feel like she will also be terrible, but for different reasons. Yeah, so, I mean, I don't like her. She rubbed me the wrong way.
Like, do we want the populist rogue, or do we want the business tycoon who is also trying to secure the bigot vote?
Yeah, exactly.
I know.
Exactly. It's you're fucked either way sort of situation. Damned if you do and damned if you don't. So,
I still feel like, here's the thing. I don't dislike Robin nearly as much as you do.
Oh, she just rubbed me the wrong way.
But you praised it nearly as much.
Because here, I will say, I was expecting her to be much different than she was, but that was because I was thinking of her as a politician and not as Robin Hood, basically. So once we've seen her now, I'm like, okay, no, she's Robin Hood. Like, she's, you know, you people are screwing my people over, so I'm gonna fucking steal all of your shit. Like,
yeah, but that's the thing.
So,
like, she can't be Robin Hood and a politician. It just doesn't work. She can't be both. So, and I feel like they're trying to make her both, but her attitude doesn't fit the fact that she's running for office. I'm like...
Yeah, because I think the main contradiction seems to be that Robin Hood is a character who changes the system from the outside, but they're trying to make her someone who changes it from the inside.
Yeah.
And it's like, it doesn't really jive.
Yeah, I feel like she's...
But here's the thing, I don't think she's gonna win the election after this, though.
God, no. I don't think so either.
Jacques is going to get a lot of support now.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's basically blackmailed Mantle into voting for him.
Yeah, essentially. Yeah. Because he's like, I've had to close all of your dust stores, and unless you vote for me, they'll stay closed. And I'm like, dude, how transparent can you be? The faunus in the mines didn't look very impressed. So I don't think they'll be voting for him.
I don't think they were voting for him anyway.
Yeah.
That reminds me, like, how long is it going to be till Jacques starts using really anti-faunus rhetoric on the campaign trail?
Exactly.
We'll find out tomorrow.
Yay! I hate it. Thanks.
I hate it.
The cloaking that Robin's huntresses used was interesting. Because I'm wondering if that's Dust or Joanna and May, yes.
I don't think Dust can do that.
Yeah, I didn't think Dust could do that, but I'm wondering what else is it then?
I think it's because there's the sheep girl named Fiona that's with her. I think that might be her semblance. Because I feel like that's kind of too... I feel like that's too low-key to be Robin's.
Can Faunus even vote? That's a good question. Probably not.
Oh, shit. I didn't even think of that.
Probably not. It's like if Batman tried to be a senator while also moonlighting as a vigilante. Exactly. It just doesn't work. You can't do both.
I mean, they did that in Green Arrow.
Yeah, but like Green Arrow was terrible. So
we need someone with Robin's ideas but with a better method. I nominate Weiss.
Yes. Yes. Weiss. Yes. But yeah, the whole scene was just kind of weird to me. Her character felt very like it was almost like her character was clashing with her purpose.
What they wanted her to do in the plot.
Yeah, exactly. Her character was clashing with her purpose for the plot. And I'm like, yeah, you feel weird, and I also don't like the vibes that you give off. And
we thought you were going to be the chaotic good rogue that we could trust instead of Ironwood, but now I'm just scared of all of you.
Yeah, well, she just seems very reckless to me, and like she doesn't think anything through, and that is going to be very dangerous for anybody with any kind of power. But yeah, I don't think she'll get elected at any rate. So
yeah, but I also feel like that's how we're supposed to feel about her right now, and that later on we will, especially because like right now the story is very much like Atlas, and I feel like in the next couple episodes it's going to switch focuses to Mantle a lot more, and that's when we're going to become more sympathetic to.
Something is going to happen that's going to make Ironwood in the military more intolerable for the heroes, and that's going to make Robin look better by comparison.
They're going to have to do a lot of turning around from how they set her character up here to make me come around to her. Because I'm really apprehensive towards her at this point. I didn't like the way she came off in that scene at all.
Well, the thing you also do have to remember about that scene, though, is that this is supplies that were meant to be fixing Mantle's wall.
Yeah, and I understand where she's coming from. I just don't agree with her attitude towards it. And like the way that she approaches it, thinking she can just attack a military transport because those are supposed to be our supplies and get away with it. And especially when she's running for office. And I'm like, you just can't do that. You have to be careful about what you do when you are being a political representative. You can't just go and do whatever you want. And that's what she's not thinking about.
I think it might have come across better if it was like a protest thing. Like if it wasn't just her team, it was literal people from Atlas who were like gathered together being like, from Mantle, who are like, you're going to tell us what you're doing because you are damning our whole city.
Exactly. Yeah. But instead she just brought a band of literal assassins, band of assassins to be like, no, we're just going to blow you up and take all your shit. And I'm like, no, Robin, you're not using your brain at all. But it's a good thing Penny was there because that could have turned bloody real quick. But the other thing that makes me a bit concerned about her is the fact that in the intro, in the final shot, she is the only one who isn't standing there with everybody else. And I'm like, that does not make me feel good about her and Team Ruby possibly teaming up at some point. I feel like they are not going to be on the same side until much, much later on in the story.
I mean, that could just also be the red herring of it, though. Because, again, I don't know. I think that it will happen, or at least they'll find some common ground there. But, yeah, they don't... If it happens in, episode 9, why would they want to show it in the intro they show in the first episode? Kind of.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah. But, yeah, I think it will happen eventually. But, yeah, there's going to be a lot of work to get to that point.
Robin is going to need a massive wake-up call to, get where you're coming from, but please stop.
Please stop.
Yeah.
Use your brain before you speak, please, and act. But yeah, I do like that she called Qrow 5 o'clock shadow. I thought that was hilarious.
Hilarious.
That was funny. And the little sheep faunus is just so cute. She's just adorable. My child.
Fiona?
I need to protect her. Yeah, Fiona.
Yeah, Fiona.
Yeah.
I saw an interesting theory about Fiona that I don't think it's true. I think it's ridiculous, but I love the thought behind it. That Neo will impersonate her and be the wolf in sheep's clothing.
Yeah, guilty. That was mine and Jeremy's, and we were just because she's so adorable. Something has to ruin it for us.
Yeah,
it'd be true.
Yeah, I mean mood, but the fact that Robin at the start is like, okay, it's time to show them our teeth, and then she just made herself look like a bit of an idiot. I was like, I feel like this is how every interaction with you goes. You're like, we're going to be tough and we're not going to back down, and then you walk away with your tail between your legs. I'm like, I feel like this is a recurring theme with you, Robin.
Clover is just like, she does this every goddamn week.
Yeah, exactly. And Mara will call it out, but nobody will believe him.
Oh, well, actually, the dog and his reflection did actually die by jumping after his reflection in the river. So, oh dear.
But yeah, so what was after that bit? I don't remember. Oh yeah, but Penny being like, I would like to politely ask that you call off the huntresses, and like then looking behind them and being like, what huntresses? We don't see anything. I'm wondering, okay, first of all, how could Penny see them? But like the fact that she was able to see Blake's cat ears through her bow in Volume 1 is a thing as well. So she's clearly got some kind of X-ray bloody vision thing that she's like, oh, they're cloaked, but I can see them.
Yeah, probably has to do with body heat or something.
Yeah.
Maybe an aura sensor, because Fox can do a similar thing in After the Fall with his telepathy.
Yeah.
Where he can just sense people wherever they are.
Yeah, exactly. And I just, Penny coming out with all of her swords and being like, bitch, you back the fuck off. Or this is about to get real ugly.
Use 5 of my 6 plans.
But doing it in such a polite Penny way that she's like, I would like to politely ask that you fuck off. It's like essentially what she's saying, but she just does it in such a polite Penny way. It's so adorable. But, yeah, and oh god, I love her dress so much. Just the way it, like, flaps in the wind, the way it moves is so nice. I can't get enough of her dress. It's so pretty.
She really pulls off the long hair.
Yeah, she does pull it off. It's surprising. The more I see it, the more I like it. Did I see what I did with that cake? But yeah, the whole scene was kind of a bit weird, but interesting. Excuse me, Robin, could you just like not? Exactly. Thank you for the follow. So yeah, what was after that? Was this Weiss and Winter after that?
Yeah.
Well, I did want to say one more thing about the Robin thing. In that part where she was asking them to say what they were doing with Amity, and she held out her hand and said, please just tell me. That felt
weird.
Like, it felt weird, and I was like, is she, like, using her semblance right now? Like, can she like convince people to do stuff or something? Like it just something about it felt weird.
Her holding her hand out like that. I get that they were going for like a symbolic of like offering an open hand, but it just felt really weird. And the fact that she has
felt so deliberate.
Only her index finger exposed on each hand really bothers me. Because I'm like, why is that finger exposed? Isn't it cold? Like, you're gonna get frostbite. Like,
it's an anime thing.
Oh, it's so annoying.
It's fine.
Like I'm like, it's not even like an archer's glove. It's just literally one finger's out for some reason. I'm like, there is no reason for this. If it was your index and your pinky, yeah, that's an archer's glove. But why? Like, I don't understand.
That's how she unlocks her scroll. She needs the one fingered for the fingerprint sensor.
Everyone else uses their scroll with their gloves.
I was going to say, Robin is so chaotic good, she breaks every single rule, even when it could literally kill her.
Oh, God. Trigger finger. Could be. But yeah, no. Yeah.
It felt so deliberate to me that I was like, there's something going on there.
No,
I'm like, does she have the lie detector semblance that people are suspecting?
I didn't feel like it was like she was using her semblance. I just felt like it was just her, like, extending a hand. But I'm like, you're literally 20 feet apart. Like, why are you reaching out? It just felt so
it's that thing where they're kind of odd with how they block their scenes.
Yeah, a little bit weird.
Just the entire thing, it made me be like, something's happening there. And I wanted to mention it, just in case maybe something comes up in the future. So I'm like, I have proof I said something.
It's here for reference.
It's here forever.
We still have Weiss and Winter to talk about, so let's get through this as quickly as we can. them
Queens.
Yes, the queens with their summons fighting each other. That was really awesome. Something I didn't know that I was waiting for until it happened. But yeah, I like that, like, they sort of drew. And, you know, Winter was like, you've learned how to make the flaws in your technique work for you. And I was like, no. And as Weiss says, that was very close to a compliment. Like, you know.
And Winter's like, I didn't intend it like that.
Winter's
you
very
can't prove
much
anything.
a tough love kind of sister. But we know that she's actually proud on the inside. She just won't express that outwardly.
Wow. I just love how confident Weiss was in this scene, too. Like, I think that threw Winter off so bad where, you know, she was like, you know, oh, you would have been like, oh, I'm sorry, these mistakes I've made. But now you're, like, roasting me. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Who me compliment? Never. Yeah, but, like, Weiss is... And she points it out, you know, you've grown up a bit. Because Weiss used to doubt herself all the time, be so unsure of herself. And now she's just like, yeah, that's how I am. I fucking own this. And the way that she even stands and holds herself with such confidence now, because she's really sure.
I live for that shot of chapter 3 where she's standing still and not doing anything, but she has her hand on Mirrodnester, and I'm like, I never knew I needed this shot of her in my life.
Yep. Yeah, the fact that she sort of holds herself that way now, she's a lot more similar to Winter now than she was before. And, you know, Winter's saying, you know, you've grown up and you've distanced yourself from the SheNoob name, and because of that, you now know who you are. So, yeah, that her sort of being like, that was the best thing I ever did for myself, was to sort of put my family's name aside. And then, you know, mentioning that Ironwood would probably accept Weiss into the military, but Weiss is like, yeah, no thanks. I don't trust him. Because, you know, she's got a brain. But, like, yeah, her being like, you know, this isn't supposed to be like this, and our kingdom shouldn't be, you know, and her whole attitude has changed. Whereas before, I feel like she would have been like, screw the rest of the world. Like, Atlas is the only kingdom that matters. But now that she's been out in the rest of the world and seen how much people are suffering and been through the fall of Beacon herself, she's like, there are more important things than just our kingdom. And, like, you know, they should be helping others, not looking out for themselves. Weiss hard pass, yeah, exactly. But Winter, I think, is being a little bit naive, interestingly, in that saying, you know, once we've dealt with all of this, we will open up our borders. None of it's going to go the way that they think it is, and they're not going to be prepared for it when it doesn't. So, yeah, I think she's being a little
but that's because
about all of it.
She has so much confidence, though, in Ironwood, I
does.
think.
Yeah. And I think Clover does
and even
too.
just in her own ability.
Yeah.
Because she's like, once I'm the Winter Maiden, I can do this. Like,
yeah, that's not going to go the way they think it is either.
Yeah.
But the fact that she showed the Winter Maiden to Weiss shows how much confidence she does have in her sister now, and how much trust she does place in her. Also, that was the longest corridor in history. Holy fuck, was that walk down the corridor long.
Maybe if we put her far enough down the hallway, Cinder will get tired and give up before she gets there.
We just need a long-ass hallway.
As soon as I saw that hallway, I was like, and Cinder's going to kill someone there, and Neo's going to stab a guy right there.
This hallway is so white, and it's going to be so red by chapter 13.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep, that's ominous as hell, and definitely foreshadowing, and there's going to be some kind of something going on in that hallway later.
Oh god, I just thought Weiss and Winter trying to defend the Winter Maiden from Cinder, and Winter finds out, you stabbed my sister?
Yeah, she doesn't know about that yet. At least we don't think that she does.
I don't think so.
I don't think Weiss would tell her about that somehow.
I feel like it would be more a Cinder thing, like, oh, so you're still alive even after I did that. And Winter's like, what the fuck did you just say?
Exactly. I think Cinder would be surprised that she's still alive. Yeah, even if she even remembers it, because she didn't remember Jean, so... It's
like, oh yeah, that girl with the white hair who was kind of a bitch.
Yeah, exactly. Weiss becoming the Winter Maiden instead. I don't get those vibes. I feel like the reason this isn't going to go the way they think it is just because Winter's the only person the Winter Maiden, Freya her name is allowed to see, doesn't mean she's the only person she's thinking of. Like, like, when Freya dies, that power's not going to Winter. It's going to go to whoever was in her thoughts last, and that's going to be somebody she loved or cared about in the past. It is not going to be Winter. It's either going to go to someone random, it's going to go to Cinder, or they're going to have to jam that shit into Winter. Either way, Winter is not becoming the Winter Maiden by the end of this volume. It's not going to happen.
That's why I pointed out those aura transfer machines. Because
that's all suckers.
I'm like, why is Ironwood just waiting for her to die naturally? And it's not going to go to Winter. It's not going to happen. They need to jam it into her. It's the only way they're going to guarantee that Winter gets the powers. But that's not going to happen anyway. So we're going to have another Pyrrha situation.
But they still don't know what that's going to do to...
they don't. Because they never figured... Because they were never successful in transferring Ambers to Pyrrhas. So they still have no clue what's going to happen.
What it's going to do, yeah. But yeah, none of it's going to go the way I think it is. I think that Freya will... Either Cinder will steal Freya's power, or Freya will die and the power will go to somebody random, or Freya will die and the power will go to Nora, which I hope doesn't happen. Because I do think there is a connection between the two of them. They're sort of leaving little clues in the show, and we know there's going to be Nora backstory this year. But for Nora to get the Winter Maiden power would just be a bit strange.
It would. I don't want to say predictable, because I don't feel like that's the right word, but it feels odd for Nora's story.
Yeah, it does feel odd for it to be Nora, so I don't think that's going to happen either.
I don't think they could put a Maiden in the main cast yet without it completely fucking everything over.
Yeah. I don't see any main characters becoming Maidens until, like, we're in final battle territory and we want cool spectacle.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
That's why I'm like, I think Winter could get it, just because, like, we've already got Raven and Yang, and then having Winter and Weiss, like, I've never really been a big fan of the 4 girls or the 4 maidens theory, but, you know, it kind of looks like maybe they are intending to do that.
I feel like thematically it kind of checks out, especially if it's only going to be finale for cool spectacle. The only part that upsets me is that Yang would be spring and not summer. And I'm just like...
Yeah, that upsets me too. But I guess summer makes sense for Ruby because summer rose, but, like, no.
No, Ruby would be fall because Cinder's so obsessed with
Blake
Ruby.
Would be fall.
Yeah, because I always pegged
Cinder
Ruby as spring.
Yeah.
And plus, it also checks out for the relics because Ruby's the knowledge of how the world actually works. Weiss is creation with the SDC legacy. Blake is choice because of her standing against Adam and inspiring Menagerie. And Yang's destruction because of what she went through after she lost her arm. That's how I always viewed it.
I was just thinking more about the seasons and how they correlate with each of the characters. Because Summer, Blake as Summer doesn't fit at all.
No.
So, yeah, maybe
She's pale.
Cinder will get all the maiden powers. No, that's not going to happen because Raven. So we already crossed that bridge and that didn't happen. So I don't think Cinder's going to get them all. So I
don't know why I just thought of this, but
Raven could show up at the final battle.
Yeah, but Cinder already lost to Raven once, so Raven kicked her ass.
It would be wonderful to watch that again, like Raven just kicking her ass.
Yeah. I did thoroughly enjoy that. It was a conflicting fight for me because I was like, I hate you both, but I really want Raven to win. So,
because Raven is less awful.
I wouldn't care if either of you died right now, but I kind of want Raven to win.
But the idea, the thought of where Raven is right now made me realize we have not seen Maria since chapter 1.
Yeah. Where the fuck did Maria go? Jesus.
She's just hanging out with her sugar daddy.
Oh, it's so annoying though because I like her so much. I'm like, why have they just chucked her in the background this volume so far? Like, where's Maria? She was still in too many scenes. They had to get rid of her.
Part of me is hoping that she'll help Ruby in questioning Ironwood because she's like, why are you trusting the frickin' dictator who's also an idiot? And part of me is also just like, please let her be part of Robin's campaign. Please, God.
I think Maria couldn't give two shits what's going on with Atlas or Mantle right now. She's like, I don't care. I'm just kind of
maybe she just like screaming things at the voters.
She's like constantly 152% done with everything that's going on. So like, she's just like, I don't even know who that child was.
Cans at stuff.
Is she important? What's going on? These people have so much baggage. I can't believe it. And it's like she's just constantly so done, and she's just like she doesn't care what the fuck is going on. She's just along for the ride.
I mean, I think she's living for the chaos that's probably going on in Mantle right now.
I think she's a person who enjoys just, drama. She likes watching it from an outside perspective.
She's like, throw those trash cans, you go, kids.
I'll give my guillotine.
Than expected. Yeah. I do want to see Maria come back. I miss her. I miss her and her stealing literally every scene she's in, even if she doesn't say anything.
I would be so upset if they just wrote her out of the story completely, because it's like she's part of our family now. She's part of the group.
She was one of my favorite things about Volume 6, and she's hardly been in Volume 7. And, like, every line she had in Chapter 1 was hilarious, and she stole the whole chapter. And it's like, I love the way that she just steals the spotlight from everybody else when she says anything.
I just had an utterly terrifying thought.
What?
Don't you dare say she dies.
She's not dead, but she has robot eyes. What if they use her eyes to see what they saw from Jin? And that's how they find out everything.
Oh, God.
I don't know, but what if?
I don't know that they do.
I feel like you would have had to establish the eyes can record everything before for that to check out.
Yeah. I don't know.
Because it would feel very like,
where the hell did that?
It's like, Maria, your eyes have cameras in them? And she's like, yes, I clearly mentioned it when none of you were listening.
Yeah, exactly. I don't tell you every single little thing about my life, Jesus.
Get a life, kids.
Get a life, God. Jeez, lady, take a hint.
God. I'm just imagining her taking a meta shot at all the people who like spend hours or days just theorizing about the show, and we all just start crying.
She's not needed for the story, but needed for the show. Yeah, we need her. She's our bread and butter. Please bring Maria back.
She can be emotional support for Ruby.
Bring Maria back 2020. We need to see her.
You know what? Maria for president. Maria for council.
Yeah.
Fuck it. Fuck all the other ones. Fuck Robin and Jacques. Just stick Maria in there. She's just gonna create chaos. She lives for that shit. But
she'll at least be chaotic for equal rights.
Yeah.
Back on track.
The dying Winter Maiden.
Yeah. So if you put the subtitles on during this scene, the dialogue between Winter and Freya feels very strange. But I get there's just like background noise. And you can barely hear it. But if you put the subtitles on, they're like, she's like, good afternoon, you feeling better? And Freya's like, good morning. I'm like, okay. She just said good afternoon, but
I feel like Freya's not entirely there.
Yeah.
If you
she's a bit out of it, yeah. And then she was saying, I like hot tea on a cold day, and then she asked Winter, is it cold outside? So I feel like that's kind of showing that she's not I almost feel like she's got dementia. And she's just like confused, and she's disoriented, and she's old. But yeah, it was really strange dialogue. And I'm not sure how deliberate it all was, or if it was just like, yeah, this is background noise. I feel like nothing in Ruby is not deliberate though.
Yeah,
it had to have been.
That's why there's so many like background details that are important. Like even going back to episode 2 or 3 with like talking about the voting party that's going to be in the next episode.
Yeah.
Like everything in the show is deliberate.
Yeah. But yeah, just like Weiss's reaction to hearing that Winter's is gonna be the next Maiden, and being like, aren't you angry? He like groomed your whole military career for this. But Winter brings up a really good point that at first she was pissed and she didn't want to have a bar of it, but now she's realized how important it is and that she has made that decision to do this regardless of the fact that it was sort of chosen for her, that she's the one who's going to choose it now. She could walk away if she wanted to, but she's choosing not to do that. So, and, you know, pointing out the similarities between her and Weiss in that sort of situation that she's had this put before her. And it's the same sort of thing that Pyrrha was like, the reason she did it is because she knew how important it was and knew what the stakes were. And I feel, though, that Pyrrha felt like she didn't really have a choice, whereas Winter's had some time to mull it over and she has decided that she should do this. And it's something that she wants to do. She wants to do some good for Atlas and for the rest of Remnant. And this is the best way that she can do that. And she said she saw it as a privilege. Reminded me of Pyrrha a bit. Yeah, exactly. Except I feel like Pyrrha had very little time. Yeah, Pyrrha had very little time to come to grips with that, and it was very overwhelming, and she was a lot younger than Winter is. And also she was sort of she just had to do it at the end because they were being attacked. They had no time left. She had to very quickly make the choice that she didn't have a choice. She had to do this. So, whereas Winter's making the decision to, I'm going to do this because I think this is right. Not because, you know,
she's not going to get the chance.
Yeah, I don't think she is either. So, but yeah, the way she talks about it was interesting. And then we have sort of Jacques, you know, doing what Jacques does and twisting a situation to make it look like he's the victim and Ironwood's the bad guy and Robin's the bad guy and everyone else is the bad guy but me. I wonder how many people actually see through that with him. Because I feel like...
Well, even if they see through it, it's not like they feel like they have another choice.
Yeah. That's the trouble. And then, surprise, Maria runs for office and everybody votes for her just because. I would like Jacques to die, please. I would also like Jacques to die, please. Please and thank you. Somebody assassinate him.
Please.
I feel so bad. I'm going to rephrase that. Jacques is an idiot because he doesn't realize how much he's being used.
Manipulated and used by Watts.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. He is
like...
The second that he stops being useful, Watts and Tyrion are going to get rid of him.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like, he's like, mohaha, look at me. And it's like, you're just here to cause chaos. You're just here to, like, rile up the Grim, shake things up in Atlas, well, then, you know, here comes Salem with her flying monkeys.
Yeah, let's see how much your prophets help you when the city is besieged by a literal demon god.
I'm crying in my mansion, dabbing my tears with my silk tissues. Please feel bad, I'm not making literal squillions anymore. Yeah, that's how it comes.
I can only afford to buy 5 yachts instead of 7.
Oh, no.
It reminds me of that movie Fun with Dick and Jane, where, like, the big corporate boss who, like, liquidates the company, he's like, I had to sell my house in Martha's Vineyard. And it's like, he's got multiple mansions. And he's like, we've all had to make sacrifices. I had to sell one of my 7 mansions just to pay my bills. And it's like, it's that exact same vibe. And I'm like, oh, what a cunt.
I really want to make a Jacques as a stand-in for AT&T joke right now.
Oh, Ruby Official just tweeted that the election is tomorrow. Interesting. Let's have a look at Twitter.
Oh, we're all doomed.
Okay.
Bye, everyone.
Larissa sent me a message too that I need to. She sent me the news alerts along the bottom of the screen where Jacques is talking. So it's missing journalist found stain in her Midtown apartment, perimeter wall damaged last month. Resources and funding are stalled. Surface level Grim attacks increasing. Mangle? I think it's meant to say Mantle. Protection Agency advises staying indoors. Weather special, how to keep you and your family safe from hypothermia and frostbite. And then the names on the media's microphones are Atlas Broadcast Network, Lance of Liberty, Mantle Daily, and Atlas Eye, which is interesting. So, yeah. Election day is tomorrow's episode. Yeah, that's what they're doing. They're watching the election party. So
I wonder if it's going to be the Tales of Bossing Say episode we've heard so much about. because I'm like, I need the low key vibes, especially if everyone's about to die.
Yeah.
I don't know. For being such a short episode, I feel like they probably couldn't do the Bossing Say thing in it.
Yeah, that's the thing. Well, the thing is with RWBY, you never know, because like there was Volume 4, Chapter 9, and they managed to fit so much into it.
Yeah.
I was thinking Volume 5, Chapter 9 for a second, and I was like, what?
No, we don't
fire?
think of that. Talk about that.
So, Chapter 6, apart from the fact that we know that there's going to be the election and then the spoiler that we all saw, what are our predictions?
What is
there to predict outside of that? We know exactly where this chapter's going. Who are we kidding?
Yeah, let's not talk about that.
Yeah. I don't know, maybe.
I know. I think that we'll get some one-on-one conversations because, like, the description said something about downtime, like them finally getting some downtime.
Yeah.
So I'm like, please, everybody, just have some conversations, please.
Yeah, that would be nice. Yeah.
Talk to your friends.
I never thought I would want talking in RWBY. There's been so much action lately. I'm like, okay, y'all can sit down and have a conversation.
I mean,
that's cool.
We do like the gay talking, though.
Yes, of course we do. More gay, please. All of the gay. It's never enough. Be getting some good one-on-one conversations before you know what happens. Yeah, hopefully. So there's certain two characters on that vein in the next chapter who we know something that's happening with them. So I want to see a good conversation between them before that happens. And also we know where they are as well, which is interesting. So, and we know where Ruby and Penny are because they were in the thumbnail. So,
yeah, and since Chapter 7 is going to be the midpoint and probably mid-volume finale, I feel like something big has to happen at the end as a cliffhanger.
Yeah.
Like, it's going to be chill for the most part, and then something, maybe Tyrion, maybe, God forbid, Penny getting hacked, just something.
Oh, God. They can't
something to make us all start screaming through.
We just got her back.
I know.
It's really, they're cruel. They love to torture us.
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
But yeah, Chapter 7 is the mid-season finale. So that's coming out next week. So yeah, something huge is going to go down. It usually does before they go on a break for a week and be like, hey, you have to wait now to see what happens.
That's also why I'm like, the first half of the season will be dedicated to Atlas and the second half will be dedicated to Mantle. So that's why I'm like, this is going to be, like, episode 7 is going to be the, like, big butting heads between, you know, Team RWBY and, you know, Ironwood and stuff, I think.
It's going to change their entire dynamic.
Yeah. Is it Chapter 7 this year? Yeah, it was Chapter 7 last year too, wasn't it? Isn't it always Chapter 7? That's the last one before the break?
Well, yeah. And because, you know, this volume has 13 chapters, so 7 is the literal midpoint.
Yeah, last year was going to have 14 and ended up having 13, I think, didn't it?
I'm so happy. I'm so happy they made the old Volume 6 finale the Volume 7 premiere.
Was it 8 last year?
I know. I think it was, because episode 9 was the one they came back on, which was the Pura statue.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It was 8 last year. It's 7 this year. 7 is the middle chapter, because there's 13. So after 7, we have a week break for Christmas, and then back on the 28th of December.
Plus, this volume started later, too, as well.
Yeah.
Because episode 8 would be coming out on December 21st. Which I feel is just a little too close to Christmas probably for their liking. So they'd rather do, like, have it the next episode come out on the 28th rather than on the 1st.
Last year they took their Christmas break the weekend before Christmas, and we scheduled it wrong last year. We thought it'd be the weekend after. It was the weekend before. And this year I still scheduled it wrong because I confused myself with the dates. So 21st is going to be the break weekend. There won't be an episode on the 21st because it's the weekend before Christmas. So they'll break for Christmas, and then there'll be an episode on the 28th. Oscar development soon, I hope. Yeah, he's also taking a bit of a backseat. I would like some Oscar development. Smart narrative choice. Clover intro needed to be in the premiere. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Okay, so yeah. Predictions are election, the spoiler thing, hopefully some conversations, a little bit of downtime would be nice.
And more backstory soon, please.
Yes.
Because I'm just saying Freya, Thor,
Valkyries.
Valkyries, like...
We all know where this is going. And then Rooster Teeth go, lol, nope, and they do something completely different.
She's related to Blake.
Somehow. But yeah. Anywho, is there any other questions the chat has before we go very quickly? Because we've gone like 40 minutes over time at this point.
Honestly, I'm surprised we're only 40 minutes over time. Especially with the like half-hour derailment.
But, like, yeah. We did have a technical problem. I blame that. It derailed us. But if you have any questions, make sure you pop them in the chat before we wrap up. Next stream, next week. I don't really know what's happening with next week just yet, because I work next weekend and we had to move some people around. I think next week we're at least having Bree on from Fandom Reactions, but outside of that I'm still coordinating people because I fucked the dates up once again. I do it every year. Hey. Have we met? My name's SheNoob. I can't get dates right. Has been fun. Yes,
I know. I'm terrible at dating as well. I get it.
It's a real struggle. It's fine.
I'm so done with you already. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Who do you think will be the next Winter Maiden? Either Cinder or someone random.
I'm going to say Winter. I'm gonna have faith that my Winter will stay alive.
I didn't say she would die. I just don't think she'll be the Maiden.
I just want good things for everyone, but that's impossible with the show.
Yeah, true.
It's very true. Okay, well,
I'm far too optimistic for the show.
Next week, probably very early again at this stage, because I do work next weekend. And I just realised I told Bree the incorrect time as well, so I need to fix that up. Yeah, we're still working that one out. But I will let you guys know on Twitter what's happening with next week.
Just follow
but at any rate...
Which is this the command?
It's Boopcast.
Nope, that's not it. Dang it.
That one. Follow us on Twitter to stay up to date. With the podcast every week. Thank you, Thomas, for joining us. It's been a pleasure having you.
Oh, no problem. Thank you guys again for having me.
You're welcome. And we'll be back next week at some point. I'm not sure when yet. We're going to have to work that one out. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. And I may have something to show on next week's Boopcast because I didn't quite get it ready for this week, but I may have something cool to show at the end of next week's Boopcast that is very exciting because I didn't quite get it ready for this week, but yeah, there's gonna be a teaser for something next week which is already on my Discord, so if you want to see it on my Discord you need to subscribe to my Twitch. So plug. But yeah, if you are already subscribed and you are not in that Discord, subscriber chat, that is my Discord, so you can go and see it there. But yeah, we'll see you next week. Bye-bye, everybody.
Goodbye.